So bad news. Another woman has come forward about her time with Abba Atlas, who is a YouTuber from Abba and Preach. Her name is Kiki. You guys have asked me to review this story, and I'm here to review it. We've been keeping tabs on the story. It's devastating. It's horrible. Multiple women have come forward. Multiple people have been impregnated, had abortions, miscarriages. It's just like a really messy, terrible situation for everybody. And I'm just devastated for these girls. I'm glad that a lot of them have been able to come together over this. And also, I think bringing awareness to this is so important because, you know, Abba does have this brand that makes him out to be like a caring and thoughtful person. And that's kind of how he used that energy to convince these women that he was safe. And so it's just really hard to hear another person coming out with their story. So we just wanted to give a platform to that and hear her story and listen to her. And yeah, let's go ahead and do that together.
Hi, my name is Kiki, and you can find me on Instagram at rslki. Today, I'm sharing my experience with a narcissistic YouTuber with 2 million subscribers who lied about his fertility to multiple women.
How's the audio? It's a little low, but I want to make sure I've put it up on my OBS. Let me know how the volume is.
Impregnated multiple women, including myself, and who proceeded to dox all of us.
That's when I meet
including my 5-year-old daughter. Everything that is shared here is all alleged, but in order for everything to be easily digestible, I will be including clear timelines and receipts for certain claims. And I request those who watch this video to please do not cyberstalk or harass any of the people mentioned in this video. This is purely to share my experience and to basically give a public warning to any future individuals that may come across this person. And before we get into things, I want to be clear that this is made with complete vulnerability on my end. And with that being said, there will be triggering videos and photos which involve miscarriage. So if you're uninterested in that subject, or you don't want to see the reality of that subject, or you feel like it might be triggering for you, please leave the video or skip ahead over the parts where I show those really graphic things. There will also be a warning prior to showing those photos, so I just wanted to let everyone know. And to be very clear, I'm putting my own thoughts, feelings, emotions, vulnerabilities in this video, and opinions about my experience, which is my constitutional right to do. But anyways, enough of this introduction. I
think she has to say that because he's trying to sue and harass people at their work. So I wonder if she's trying to get ahead of it, because and I think she's one of the victims he might have doxed at work, but he is like sending letters to people's work. Like, remember how we reviewed his live stream and he was bragging about like, oh, you're going to come after me, I'm going to come after you. Mind you, he's the one getting women pregnant. Mind you, he's the one who's lying. Mind you.
Get right into it. Okay, so first things first, how did we meet? What was his demeanor like? Before I met this individual, I wasn't really familiar with his past. For example, the past issues with other creators such as Fresh and Fit, Destiny, and other, you know, crazy lore that I've come across after the fact. What I thought of this individual was that he was very mature. I thought that he was a very stand-up kind of guy.
Let's see, it says, I feel we have a lot in common. I want a friendship with you too. So I want to share lots between activities, goals, etc. Also, I thought you were fine in all your pics and vids. Reply is, I like that you're honest and I'm front rare gem. Guys, is this an iPhone? Who's who? Is he the black and she's the blue, or is he the blue and she's the black? I don't know.
I thought that he was very kind. I thought he was very honest. His demeanor just comes off as someone who cares about other people. He talks a lot about wanting to be present. He talks about wanting to show up.
Okay, yeah, she's the blue, right? Okay.
Up for people.
What was that?
He talks a lot about.
I have 3 goals I thought of. Okay, so this is him. 1, improve my relationships with my people, family, friends, show up and be better. 2, take care of my physical and mental health, lose weight and reduce technological use. 3, zone into my craft via works and art. And 4, if I found, invest in a partner and build. This is him?
Wanting to be present. He talks about wanting to show up for friends and family and those that he considers loved ones. Before we started talking, I had made a Instagram account, and I found that he has a page on Instagram. He has, I believe, 4 different Instagram accounts. There's one for his main channel, and then there's one for himself, and then the other ones, I don't know what he does on those. The one that I followed is probably the main one that most people know about. I came across a video of him dancing with a woman, and she was very curvy, very beautiful. So I decided to comment on it and say something witty. You know, there's this ongoing joke in their community where I guess dancing or doing stuff with women is gay.
Any man that can boogie is a homo.
Drool.
So I left a comment on that video saying the finger landing on the belly button is anything but gay. He liked it. Well, he hearted the comment. And then on my own page, I had posted a small compilation of photos where one of the clips was of one of their live streams. I think that caught his eye because that was one of the first things that he mentioned when
Finding a piece of our live on your profile made me double take. Abba Atlas. Yeah, this is his Abba's Abba. This is his main account. I think his personal account.
he slid into my DMs. From there, it's all history. After he slid into the DMs, he gave me his
I'm intrigued. Message me on IG, Kiki. Oh, Kiki's her name, but I don't know if he meant Kiki. And tell me your name too. Oh, he did, Kiki. Okay. Because isn't her name Kiki?
phone number. He was very flirty, very goofy, very silly, you know, I would say very charismatic. Our conversations went really nicely, I would say. They were very fun for me. Throughout our conversations, we would
Let's see. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's the same as many people in our relationship. But what if he gets bored of me, or won't be there when I need him? If I'm at a low, I don't think about it all the time, but it's a fear. Usually when I'm alone at night with my thoughts, I try to distract myself. Do you have one or relate?
share anything and everything about the things that we want.
Fear in a relationship. So tends to be higher in the beginning and then depends on patterns and consistency. I think you've been very considerate and sweet to me, pretty understanding and well communicative as well. I really appreciate this greatly despite you not seeing me yet. I've bounced back quickly this week whenever they started getting to me because of these things you've been doing and communicating. He said, fair.
To do our plans for the future, relationship stuff.
To ask you a side question.
Okay, example of types of convos. Routine in my life is important, she said, because it's something I can expect and brings me comfort. Not working caused me to dip in the self-esteem area, but I know it's temporary. Having small routines in my day helps to keep me motivated and consistent. Sometimes I struggle with getting started, but once I get into the rhythm, I'm good. So he is sending her a video response.
He was asking about me. How well do you find your mental state when you're on a very specific schedule versus when you're not? And how do you feel about it?
Oh, is that her answer to this video?
Let's say like you do prefer one or the other, but you're not in that headspace. So let's say you prefer a more routine-based thing and you're not having that. How do you handle that? Tell me.
What we have, like what kind of expectations that we have for potential partners and things of the sort. A few days after we started talking, he wanted to know if I had a passport. I didn't have a passport at that time.
That's it. Okay.
Because my family and I, we've
He's in Canada, so I don't know where she is.
never left the country. Well, one of my family members has been traveling before, so she has one, but most of us haven't. We, stay where we are. We settle down where we are. That's not my intention for my life. I would like to travel more, but at that time I just didn't have a passport. So we started talking about getting one, and my plan was to go through the mailing process, which
Okay, let's see.
we started talking about getting one, and my plan was to go through the
Register of Deeds, passport accept facility, Wednesday. Okay, damn, 2 weeks to submit a passport request, or is it a pickup? It's an appointment for a new passport, none available in March with the registry. Okay.
mailing process, which would take about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks max, maybe 6 weeks. I'm not entirely sure how that process works. He wanted me to do the 24-hour passport service, which was in Washington.
Damn, that's crazy. That's interesting how eager he was. Did we catch her age? I'm curious. She looks really young.
DC, and at the time I was in North Carolina. And to me, it seemed like this person was very interested.
Because I'm really attracted to you. I feel it's mutual. So why are you acting like we won't spend the day laughing, goofing around, and getting comfortable, cuddling, kissing, leading into it? You'll be ready when it's time, and if it's too soon, we wait and ease in. Okay.
In me, he was very consistent. He talked, he communicated just very consistently.
Let's see.
He was very interested in me. He was very
If you're okay with messaging me more through the day, I can send pics. I wasn't doing it so I wouldn't disturb your work routine. He said, well, aren't you cute? I'll say 2 things so you know who I am. 1, I like seeing your updates so you're never annoying. And 2, if my inconsistency on replies ever gets to you, consider this your carte blanche to say some. And she said, okay, noted, thank you.
consistent. He talked, he communicated just very consistently. I was like, okay, this person.
No, ma'am, I say what I mean. I'm generally just having one of them days. Not about you, I promise. I'm just communicating it so you aren't confused. She said, I feel you, no worries. You've been doing a lot recently. I'm glad you let me know. Stay hydrated.
Is interested in me. I had my suspicion.
He said, but I promise good. He said, I promise good dick, chill company, and fun chats. And honestly, you're welcome, you filthy animal. Okay, that's the quote from the movie, right? She said, not like ons type of thing. You know, what's ons, guys? ONS? What's that? Of course not. You think I'm gonna do all this shit for ons? What's ons? What's on? What is that? What is that? What's that? What's that? One night stand. One night stand. Got it. Look at me, locked in. Logistically, this ain't the most easy. Imagine talking to someone for a few weeks long distance for a one night stand. I mean, you know.
But at the same time, I was like, I need to be more trusting of people. I need to be more open and willing, because prior to this situation, I've had horrible dating experiences. As you know, I'm a single mother. I've been physically assaulted. I've been abused. There's so much that I've experienced in my life that has...
Listen, I'll just say it. Like, you know, I think that's Abba's MO, which is so disappointing, is he does come off safe. He comes off really thoughtful and considerate and interested. And I don't blame people for falling for it, because compared to everybody else in the bubble that she might be interacting with or other people, Abba seems like a gentleman compared to everybody else. But I think that's a part of his shtick, is to hang out with people that are worse than him, so he does look the best, at least in hindsight. So I feel like that's a part of the shtick as well, is there's just like a type of guy, you know, okay, who, I mean, I think I even have like a brother who's kind of similar a little bit, where like sometimes I feel like he's like the better of, but then at the same time, I feel like sometimes he thinks he's good enough because he's not as bad as the other brother, but like also you don't get gold flowers, or like you don't get roses for being like a little bit better. It's like that stereotype of the bar is so in hell that a man is like slightly a gentleman, so he's like the best guy ever. Do you know what I mean? So
pushed me to the point where I'm not entirely sure if I even want to pursue romantic relationships anymore, but I wanted to give it a shot. You know, I wanted to try. With the passport situation, it was my job to drive 5 hours to Washington, D.C., pay for the passport, and drive 5 hours back. And so in that day, I drove a total of 10 plus hours. I had to drive back home at nighttime, and my vision is really bad. It was terrifying for me. It was raining, it was storming. He knew how scared I was and how
in the car, fuck, rush traffic hour. There's no way, I still have 3 hours. I might have to stop and sleep. It's raining heavy. Hey, I'm calling. Yeah, this is a lot. I can see if you're really smitten with someone, you'll go over and beyond. It's interesting that he said they've been talking a couple weeks, right? If they're long distance and there's a country distance, it's interesting that he said it's not a one night stand, but is it serious all the same? Like, it is, you know, there was no real reason to rush given the circumstance of everything. But the way he was like, do the 24-hour, I want to see you right away. It puts like an anxiety on the person to be like, I got to do it right away. And so I think there's something there, you know? So I feel like that's the tactic too. Like, you better do it now or you'll miss your chance. If you don't do it now, I might get bored and choose somebody else, you know?
Like, just how terrified I was of doing this. But at the time, I felt like it was worth it, because I feel like individuals need to put in effort when they are pursuing a romantic relationship. And doing these sort of actions for me is how I show someone that I care and that I'm interested. As I've mentioned.
Exactly, though. Same. Exactly. When I go over and beyond for someone, that's how I show I care. Dilemma, they're not reciprocating. Notice that he's not the one going over and beyond. Notice that he's not coming to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just interesting, because I hear that. I'm the same. I absolutely, you know, but also
mentioned before, he was very consistent with his communication. We would have multiple phone calls, FaceTime calls, Discord calls, and we would talk for hours on end.
That's a lot.
With his communication. We would have multiple.
Okay, so looks like this is over like 4 or 5 days.
Phone calls, FaceTime calls, Discord calls, and we would talk for hours on end.
This is what I was used to before the trip to completely new country. This is what I used to before the trip to completely new country to see you. Now this is what I get. Just putting it out there because I know I'm not tripping. Most of the recent calls were canceled or ignored. So she's already calling him out like, hey, you know, you gave me all this attention before. You know, there's a type of person, Abba might be this person, I don't know. There is a type of person that gets a rush and a high from the chase, from the new relationship, like NRE, and then they bail once it fizzes out. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Abba's just like chasing, you know, he's recently diagnosed ADHD, I think, in the last couple years. Maybe this is like a big part of his dopamine is like the rush of somebody new. And I think a lot of like, it's not the ADHD that's doing it, by the way. It's saying that because he has a dopamine receptor problem, a lot of ADHD people can seek dopamine in addictive ways. And if you're ethically bad plus ADHD. It's not ADHD makes you bad. It's bad plus ADHD, right? So I think that plays a role. His ADHD is not an excuse. It's just saying that, you know, you should have maybe got that dopamine from playing video games or exercising or eating, you know, but instead he got it chasing young girls and convincing them he was serious. Something like this, maybe.
And he shared a lot of personal things with me that made me feel like he was genuinely interested, that he trusted me. My worries at the time were mainly, why me? Why are you interested in me? I'm a regular person. I have a kid. There's not a lot of people who, especially in his position, want to pursue something.
Yeah, I will say it is not a good look when a man is constantly chasing women around babies. You know, it just looks weird. Like you're always chasing mothers, you're chasing women, you're getting women pregnant. That's why some people thought he had a baby fetish or like a baby making a pregnant fetish. But like, that's the thing is like, I don't know what your thing is that you're bothering all these women and it's always around babies, but it does start to look weird.
Something with someone in my shoes. And that was just me being realistic and me trying to be practical because, yeah, why are you interested in me? There's plenty of other gorgeous, beautiful ladies that you could pursue. That was a big part of my worry when we were talking, and he knows about it because he would reassure me. He would tell me that it's okay to need reassurance in the beginning because, you know, you don't know the person, you don't exactly trust them so much. These type of conversations made me open up more. It made me pull down my walls a little bit more. I became more vulnerable with him.
Of course.
I felt like he was becoming more vulnerable with me. We all know now that that was not.
Let's see, because he was still involved with his ex-girlfriend Libby at the time. We know Libby. Okay. And just had Stephanie at his place a week prior to my flight. Damn.
Not the case. By the time it was March 31st, it was time to go to Montreal, Canada to meet this individual. Everything prior to this meetup was great. The calls, the conversations, the consistency, the communication, it was all great. But after this meetup, all of that went downhill. I've already explained his behavior prior to meeting up. So now I will go deeper in depth on his behavior afterwards. After meeting this individual in Montreal, his communication dipped significantly. It almost ceased to exist. Every time I would call this individual, it would go straight to voicemail. He would ignore them. He would have an excuse as to why he's not talking, why he can't conversate, why he can't communicate. This dip in communication made me very nervous. It made me anxious. When you are pursuing a romantic relationship with an individual and this person has these certain habits in the beginning and then you see those habits decline, you have a reaction, and that reaction is not going to be good. You're going to feel like they're not interested anymore. You're going to feel like, oh, maybe they found somebody else. Maybe they're talking to somebody else. These were the kind of thoughts that were going through my head. But I was also very vocal about this. I was very honest about this. He would just tell me that he's just busy with work. He's busy doing his salsa dancing. He's busy editing, or he's going to events. He's doing things with family. He would tell me that he's having several health issues that later I find were just excuses. We still don't know the entire truth to that, honestly.
Look, if you've got a guy who's juggling multiple women and he's lying to multiple women and there's all of these patterns of behavior, I don't think with a chronic liar, you can piece the truth together, because the truth is just that they're a chronic liar. I know that's not very satisfying. I know that's not exactly what we want to hear, but I think it's a lot more boring than we give credit to it, that it's just like chronic liars are going to lie. And so the truth is like, that's the truth. And so trying to piece together everything is just too confusing. Now, I will say the top comment on this video that got pinned says, sorry to ask an awkward question. Feel free to ignore or delete this comment if you don't want to answer it. But what is your ethnic racial background? The reason I ask is because I remember a long time ago, Abba saying he mostly is into black women and only dated black women, or at least non-white women. I was just wondering because I remember thinking I didn't believe him back then. And he was only just saying it for social credit within the conversation he was having at the time with black women on live stream debates. And then she replied, let's see, I just want to make sure. Then somebody replied, we have had 4 other women with proof reach out privately: June Girl, London Girl, Stealthing Girl, Ariza, the Amazon. So a few in the public ones, a total of 7 women, only 2 of a mixed background. Oh, there's 7 women so far. Oh my God. This girl here in Azira, though, I would argue are light skin, are the lightest a black girl can get. Let's see, on top of that, already mentioned, Abba had the nerve to publicly shame Stevie Knight for having a white wife. Let's see. He has a type. Let me see. She said, I'm biracial, black and white, raised by black women my entire life. Grew up in neighborhoods of African, Asian, and Mexican families. My grandma took me to black churches when I was little. When she was able-bodied, identified with black people more than white people. Okay, so Wait, who is this? Is this Kiki? Okay, this is Kiki. Okay, so Kiki is biracial. Okay, noted. Interesting. Okay, I just think I thought it was interesting that it was there. So there you go.
Because when we're speaking about these alleged health issues, we already know that there's contradictions with his story of him having an issue with his fertility. This issue with his fertility may possibly be true. We don't know because he's never showed proof of that. He's never shared actual documentation to prove him telling the truth. Unlike all three of us women who have a whole Dropbox, a whole plethora of receipts, and still yet people are treating us like we are liars, scorned women, whatever. This individual, he has claimed
he has used his poor health as an excuse to belittle our dynamic and to guilt me for wanting consistency again.
a lot of health issues and uses it for his own benefit. It may be true that he has health problems, but he's an individual who uses it for his own benefit.
So a doctor told him he had low sperm count, which we know, proceeds to use it as use it to trick women into unprotected intercourse, which we know.
To get his way, or to push a narrative that may or may not be true, or maybe half true. We don't entirely know. During our meetup, we had consensual intercourse. I know there's
Oh, okay, so let's see here.
half true. We don't entirely know. During our meetup, we had
She put a note that said consensual, except it was under fraud, which can be prosecuted as rape by fraud in some jurisdictions. Yeah, this is where we get into informed consent is a big part of this.
consensual intercourse. I know there's individuals online who are claiming that me or the other women are claiming that he had stealthed them. That is not true. None of us have claimed that he stealthed us. It was an anonymous individual who came forward. She is not public, so I don't think I have any business putting her face out there. Unless she wants to come out, that will be her choice. But back to what I was saying. During our trip, we had consensual intercourse. I did ask about condoms. He said he doesn't like them. They don't feel right, or they're not for him.
My audio cut here, but I was just saying that this was a point of a lot of criticism of people online that were saying that why would you trust someone who you just met and not wear condoms? I do agree with that. Okay, I do. The only thing that I can say to this is that I trusted him.
Look, whether you guys like it or not, ABBA is a mini celebrity. He has social credit. It means that people would think there's no way ABBA would take the chance of having unprotected sex without a backup or something in his head. That's why men in celebrity positions can take advantage of viewers or fans or people, because they think you're a public figure. You would be safer, but that's just not the case. Being a public figure doesn't mean you're a safer person, but there is that illusion. It's an illusion. The same way that you think somebody who your friend introduced you to would be safer because, oh, you know my friend. You wouldn't hurt me. You know my friend. But that's not true. The same way you think it would never be somebody you know, but it's often somebody you know. You know?
Trusted that he wasn't sleeping around, that he was being honest, and that he was a safe person. And it turned out to be false. I was wrong, and that's all I can say.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and block this person. Said, I'm sorry, ABBA was being a jerk or a liar, but I don't feel bad for these women. It's not a crime to be a hypocrite. I'm not hearing any time a crime be committed, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and block you because we don't need this attitude in my chat right now. If you can't see by this time that morals and ethics are not about crimes alone, it is about being a safe community member. And so what you're saying is you're saying anyone who commits anything unethical, as long as not illegal, it's fine. And I'm saying this is a philosophy channel that discusses ethics. And this is unethical behavior. He's a danger to himself and his community. He's literally endangering people in the community. 7 different people. So for every 7 people, okay, one guy, 7 people. That's a danger to the community.
Already spoken in the past about my issues with condom use. It's not something I'm proud of or whatever it is, but that's just the truth. It ain't pretty, but that may be enough.
After the consensual intercourse, he suggested that I take the Ella pill, which is basically like another Plan B pill. He took me to the pharmacy down the street from his place. He paid for it, and I immediately took it.
Like ABBA's the epitome of like women have to take the birth control that impacts their like gut health and everything else, but men just have to wear a condom. They're like, no. Now, by the way, a condom might not be secure enough. For a lot of people, using a condom and taking Plan B might be the goal, but it's the idea that he doesn't have to try any contraceptive, but she has to do all the work that also compounds and adds to the type of person that he is.
But as we all know, the Plan B pill does not work if you've already ovulated. So after my trip, after I left, a couple weeks later, I find out that I'm pregnant. I think I told him a couple days
Oh my God.
after I found out, because at that time he was telling me how much he's having, difficulty sleeping, he's having health issues, and I was like, this is probably not the time. This is probably not a good time to tell you this information because you might have an aneurysm. I eventually tell him, I show him the pregnancy test. I send him pictures of it because I feel like if you meet someone one time, right, and they tell you,
See, that's why people thought he maybe had like a kink around getting girls pregnant, because he gets a lot of girls pregnant. A lot. So for him to keep telling people his swimmers aren't good, or the doctor told me I couldn't get anybody pregnant, but then to sit there and get a lot of women pregnant, like, sir, like, this is why we say, like, are you dumb or are you malicious? And it's, in my mind, malicious. Abba, in my mind, is too smart for it to be dumb. So it's malicious. Which is horrible. It's horrible either way, but it's worse because it means he's planning it. It means he's kind of hoping it happens. Like, he might have a deep-seated dark kink of aborting women's babies. We don't know what's going on in Abba's brain. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what's going on, right? So whatever he is going through, not one, not two, not three, not four pregnant women were enough to stop him. You know?
they're pregnant, you're going to want to have proof. You know, you want to be for sure. I sent him pictures of the test and I told him, here, I'm sending this to you because you probably need to see it. He told me immediately he didn't need to see it and that he believed me. Remember that whenever this infertility,
I would like to see that again.
told me immediately he didn't need to see
Okay, pregnancy test. I figure you need to see the test first with pics from multiples this morning, second pic from last night. I didn't. I believed you.
it and that he believed me. Remember that whenever this fertility lie comes up again, okay? After I told him about the pregnancy, his words and his actions never really aligned. His words said one thing, but his actions said another. He would claim that he would support me, that he would be involved, that he would co-parent, but his actions
Look, the reason the condom thing works, guys, because chat said, are condoms really that uncomfortable to wear? I feel like it's just something people say not to wear one. Like, it's too common for a reason. Okay, yes, condoms suck to wear condoms. Yeah, they suck. Okay? That's why his excuse works, because everybody who uses one knows, like, it's not that great. Okay, I use condoms. I don't think they're that great. I found that using non-latex ones were better for me. Those work out better. They have less of a weird smell. I'm still using them. Okay? And I think that that's the thing that I want people to understand. The reason liars, manipulators, abusers are given a second chance or given like I've done this too with abusers where I'm like, oh, well, that is true. You know, that's how they do it. They mix a little bit of truth in with the lie, with the manipulation. Okay, they mix in. So then you're like, well, that is, yeah, condoms do suck. And you're like, I can see you. Cause like, yeah. But see, then we forget the other part of it of like, but we use condoms anyway. Okay. Or you use a dental dam, or you don't have sex that would require one. Okay. So again, that's a part of the tactic, I think.
to me after, as I've said before, after the meetup. He would ignore my calls. He would give me so many excuses as to why he cannot communicate with me. He would text every now and then, but it wasn't consistent the same way as it was prior to meeting. He seemed...
And by the way, guys, condoms aren't just for pregnancy, right? Like, a lot of people think condoms are just for pregnancy. No, they're a barrier. HPV, no. HSV, sorry, there's a lot of H's. HSV, okay. You can use it for rashes. You can use it for anything you're having an outbreak. Like, they're a barrier. So they're not just like about pregnancy. Okay, you could be on be going through menopause. You could be sterile. You could be hysterectomy done, and you could use condoms still. So just for my young ones in the chat that maybe didn't learn sex ed in school, condoms also. Okay, right? Lesbians use dental dams. Why would lesbians use condoms? They use condoms. They use dental dams. Why? They can't get anyone pregnant because they're not just for pregnancy. Okay?
To have a lot going on at the time. I had so many worries and concerns. I felt like it was maybe my fault that I was pushing him away, making him feel a little bit overwhelmed. You'll see it in a lot of the messages. You may have already seen some of them. I would apologize for a lot of things. I would try to...
I was constantly confused. His words said that he cared, but his actions showed otherwise. So I would read into it and he would tell me it may be my fault for his health declining. So I felt in a state of constant anxiety around him. Yeah, this is the weaponizer's excuse. Like, this is the man knows and then he's manipulating, and then he's like, you're the crazy one. And because women are crazy, patriarchy makes you believe it and go, all these women are so crazy, except the men utilize that craziness. That's why certain people go after like BPD girls or people with diagnoses or people who are even public with their diagnoses, because now they can say, oh, it's because she has autism, or oh, she's BPD, or oh, it's because this, and that's why she's crazy. You know how it is with these girls. And then the misogynists go, oh yeah, I know how it is. And all these women who are suffering from internalized patriarchy and misogyny go, oh yeah, crazy girls. That's why I say be very careful with the groups of men, you know, you're associating with, and be very careful. And, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense after everything that's happened that this would be his pattern. It's disappointing. It's disappointing when anybody is willing to treat somebody this way. It's really horrible. And I really hate that she has a kid. I hate that she's already vulnerable. I hate that she was already minding her own business. And that's what I'm saying. Like, women will be minding their own business, and a man will just be like, I'm going to fuck up her life for the next 6 to 12 months. Terrible. Terrible.
Reassure him constantly. I would tell him very nice things about himself to make him feel better. These were just my attempts to try to save something that was never really there to begin with. You can take everything with a grain of salt. I don't have any proof of these phone calls. He let me know that this wasn't really a choice that he would make. He would have rather me get an abortion, just like the previous 2 women that he was with. Despite him telling me that he would rather me get an abortion, he did make it clear that it is the woman's choice. And I also told him that I would respect any decision that he made. I'm already a single mother. I decided that if this wasn't something that he was comfortable with, that he just wasn't ready for, I'm fine with him just walking away. And I let him know. I said, you have multiple choices.
I don't expect you to respond to this, to reciprocate anything, or to share the same feelings for me. Don't worry about any of that. There's a possibility my message could make you feel worse than you already do, or comfort you slightly. I don't know. My intention is just to be completely honest about my thoughts, how I'm thinking. But again, if it's all too much for you to handle, you have the right to protect yourself and decide what you want to do. Walk away completely. Stay and work on this step by step together, or just be involved, but quit pursuing something with me. Okay. You have those 3 choices. I'll respect any of the ones you choose, and my thoughts of you being a good person won't change regardless. In the end, I just hope your choice does not put a heavy weight on you and you're confident with it. Anyways, I'll update you if anything changes or happens. We don't know anything. Nothing is set in stone, and viability will be a question for a while. Night, Abba. Night, Abba? She wrote this to him, so Night, Abba. Okay.
You could take, but in one of his videos that he posted about me, he lied and said that I told him to disappear.
After talking for a few weeks, we meet up. She ends up getting pregnant, wants to keep it. I'm supportive, despite her offering for me to disappear and not be involved.
Please show me where I said that. But I never told him to disappear, and if that is true, so-called king of receipts, please show that where I said.
Yeah, chat's like, she's so nice. Bro, she is a great communicator. I'm hearing a lot of consideration for his feelings. She's so thoughtful. I am hearing a lot of, like, honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm getting flashbacks, you know, like how many girls are going to be put in this position over and over again? I feel like this is every girl I know, at least in my bubbles, okay? And every boy I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, where this is just so typical. And the women go over and beyond. They're very considerate. They always think about their feelings. And the men are ghosting, not paying attention, not involved, blaming, calling them crazy.
You can disappear. I don't care. I'll do this by myself. I would like to see it. If that exists, I would like to see it. And then around this time when...
Well, chat says she sounds like a great girlfriend. I don't know if she sounds like a great girlfriend. That's the thing. I don't know that. I'm not saying that either, because I think that's different. Because they were not dating, right? I don't know if she's a great girlfriend, but I will say she seems like a fine person. And these things are different. Because I just reviewed this episode for Ultimatum. Just a reminder, girlies, that 2 great people who are dating will not be compatible together. This narrative of like anybody would be lucky to have me as a girlfriend, not if they're the wrong person. So just remember that too. Like this narrative of like, oh, he'd be so lucky to have her. We don't know that. But what we do know is that nobody should want him. And that's the difference. We don't know how good of a girlfriend she is, but we know how bad of a person he is.
And I found out that I was pregnant. And a little bit before that happened, there was a lot of online stalking and harassment going on. More so after.
And by the way, when I said to clarify that they weren't dating, I mean that they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. They weren't in a relationship. Abba always tells girls it's not casual. It's not a one-night stand. But I don't know if they would constitute it as dating, but I think they were seeing each other. But I don't know how they would label it, you know?
I found out that I was pregnant. They were going crazy in my DMs. They were saying a lot
Let's say getting pregnant after 2 months is crazy work while being a deadbeat mother already, but a child support is child support, I guess. Yeah, that's fucked up.
A lot of nasty things about being a single mother, about
So word on the street is she's like 10 years younger than him. Ding, ding, ding. See, he always picks young girls. American and already has one child, and I'm hearing this kid is mostly being raised by another family members. Now it's looking like Abba might be a baby daddy number 2. They only started dating 2 to 3 months ago, very quick and sudden. Also, I'm not posting pics, but apparently her IG is already gone with someone dropped in the Discord. All alleged.
needing child
I saw her photos and she looks like white trash. So that's really fucked up.
support and whatnot. A lot of this was exposed at the time that I was miscarrying and going through so much, and it was just crazy.
Wow.
That's
So
why
she said, I want to hear that again.
that I was miscarrying and going through needing child support and whatnot. A lot of this was exposed at the time that I was miscarrying and
Okay, so she had a miscarriage.
going through so much, and it was just crazy. That's why I clarified a lot in those original videos that I'm a single working mother. For the last 6 years, I've been doing it by myself.
Men will call the single mother a deadbeat, knowing damn well the father failed in his responsibilities. None of these men are honorable, not worthy of love and care. Literally, how dare you call her a deadbeat mother when you're not even questioning where the father is?
There's no child support involved. I'm aware that, these people in these like red pill communities, they're kind of disengaged from reality. Like, I think there's a lot of mental illness online. These people that claim to be in these communities, they're not really in touch with reality. There's also a teeny tiny suspicion that the individual that I was dating was possibly behind.
Okay, so she considers it dating. So I'll use the word dating. So she considers it dating. Absolutely fair. Okay, not talking, not this, dating. Fair.
Exposing me. The times where I found out that people were posting my other social medias, like trying to dox me, he was sending it to me. He tried to accuse my
Let's see, what the fuck? You told people, they chatted about it. So yeah. She said, I've only told my cousin. He said, well, then she did so. She posted it on forums and told friends. She said she didn't. I'm shaking. Yeah, well, your cousin did then, he said. So you still telling her stuff? She said, no, she did not. He said, okay, just stop talking about me to others because I haven't spoken about it, period. She said, my cousin would not do that to me, and she never knew who you were until I told her I'm seeing you in another country. Someone has to know my whereabouts. She has no reason to do anything like that. I speak highly of you. Don't you think someone could have found me through Instagram? Okay.
cousin of sharing this information that we're seeing each other and whatnot. My social
Is this the girl that Abba had accused of having family members getting involved with his business, but it turned out it wasn't even true? It was like another anonymous fan who wanted to be in the drama, but wasn't even a part of it at all. And it actually muddled the waters with all the girls. Is this that story? I'm not sure.
media is very small. The original account that I was on only had family and friends on there. There's other people that I suspect, but Abba is definitely on there because you didn't like that I was posting you. I don't know. I feel like
Let's see. It was just posts in Montreal, soft launch type clips of your gaming and carrying my luggage and chilling with me. Don't worry, I removed it. Your face was not shown. I just wanted people to know I'm taken. Sorry if I was wrong to do. He said, yeah, I just think it's good to talk about that with me beforehand. Showing up in someone's socials without me knowing isn't something I'm cool with, but I get you didn't mean it in the wrong way. Appreciate you telling me. She said, I'm sorry. I thought you may have seen it, but I should have asked. Please don't be mad. Yeah, this kind of stuff, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a point in your relationship, girls, where the part of the relationship looking healthy is also you communicating and being on the same page. I don't post my partner on socials because I don't have their consent. And when I do post anything, I get their consent because that's not my face to put on socials. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to ask people about what you're posting, especially if you're dating a YouTuber. Like, my partner and I are so private. We don't tell people what we do. And second of all, I don't want anybody in my business. So like, even like, one of my siblings was like, oh yeah, I was telling people like my sister's a YouTuber. And I was like, don't tell people I'm a YouTuber. I don't want people to, I don't want like that life to reach this life because I keep them very separate. This is my job. Who else takes their family to work? But there is a bubble in which people bring it all together. I don't want to bring it together. So like, I don't like people telling people who I am because I don't want people to get crazy. People get crazy. They say they don't, but they do. You act weird because you know someone's a YouTuber. It just happens. I don't know why. People just like, they get it in their head that it's a celebrity or something, even if it's a small YouTuber. They get weird. And so I can understand that perspective, but here's the thing. He's hiding her because he doesn't want the other girls to know. You see how there's a difference? You see how he's utilizing something that is so reasonable and so smart and so good, but he's weaponizing it because he's actually hiding his other relationships? He's not doing it because he's private. He's doing it because he's a snake, bro. Okay? And she's like a decade younger, right? So that's the thing about liars, That's the thing about manipulative people, abusive people. They will weaponize the truth in order to look reasonable. Well, isn't it reasonable that I don't want you to post me on socials? And it's like, yeah, that is reasonable. And then it's like, oh, but it's because it's the why. It's always about why.
A probability that he wanted to get his lick back a little bit because he did not like that. He told me he told me that he didn't really like that, which is fine. I can understand that. So I apologized to him. I did apologize to him. And I told him, okay, I'm not gonna do that again. That can make somebody uncomfortable. So I deleted them. I took it off. Those are the reasons why I kind of suspect that he may have been involved.
It says he may also have fabricated the fake accounts that were harassing me and his ex-girlfriend. The same accounts he claimed were harassing me. We have a reason to believe so. Yeah, I think the girls came out because the girls, see, this is why I love women. The girls are coming together to band together to support each other. But in this process, from my understanding of the other girls, they have come to find out that there are fake accounts claiming to be victims to muddy the water because those people aren't coming together with the girls. So be very careful about something like this happening. You don't think ABBA has a crazy person who would do that? You don't think ABBA has a crazy fan who would do that? You don't think ABBA would do that? Like he did all these things. He was willing to get 4 women pregnant, but he wouldn't be willing to make a fake account to pretend, to muddy the water. Because look, if you find 1 or 2 accounts that are fake, then everybody will say, see, these women are fake. And then it's a way to attack the women. It's a way to discount their story already. Even though ABBA admitted this all happened, do you know what I'm saying? That's what's so crazy. Like ABBA already admitted it all happened. So
Involved with exposing me. Because, come on, 16 followers? Who's going to share my information like that? Nobody. Now we'll be getting into the topic of miscarriage and pregnancy loss.
Oh, man. Okay, super trigger warning, girls. Graphic photos of pregnancy, loss, miscarriage, and blood. Okay, ready? If you need to walk away, I 100% support you. Okay? 1, 2, 3.
So if you don't want to see any graphic images, videos, anything that might trigger you, or you're just not interested, please skip ahead. With all of the stress and anxiety of the stalking harassment, the inconsistencies with ABBA and everything, it started to affect me internally, and I started to miscarry sometime at the end of April, early May.
These are text exchanges during the
I'm in urgent care. He said you didn't say you were at urgent care. You said you were feeling cramps and a headache. My bad. I honestly didn't process you were at urgent care. I thought you went to the walk to the clinic for a checkup. I'm sorry that. Didn't realize things got worse, so you won't respond. She said, you don't want me to text. He said, but you are, and you kept texting. When it was to say how upset you are, she said, the bleeding increased this morning. I had to go ASAP.
time that I was miscarrying and going to urgent care and the ER. My daughter was with me and he knew about it.
They said, what did they say? She said the ultrasound nurse took more pictures and took a long time, made weird faces. They don't tell me anything. It has to be the doctor. He said, okay, let's not ready into it too deeply yet. I think he meant read. What matters is you trusted yourself and went to the hospital. If this is serious and something happened to you while you're alone.
He knew how much it was affecting both of us. These were the type of...
Let's see. No, I didn't bring anything I wasn't prepared for. Try asking the nurse. Let me know if you might need a call. She said, I'm getting more scared. He said, hey, you'll be okay. Breathe. It's okay to be scared. Let's see. She said she did hug me when I started crying and wiping my tears.
Exchanges that made me think that he cared. But again, his action...
I know you're upset. Okay, I spent the day worrying about your well-being.
Showed something else. He was even comforting me when I told...
Enjoy your trip to Africa. Happy birthday. He said, stop. It's okay if you don't want to stay in contact. Stop. Let's get better and healthier. We'll keep talking and not out of guilt. I want to. Are we clear? She said, sure, but why? He said, you can call me later to ask. Right now, your health.
Told him that my daughter blamed herself for the miscarriage. But then he would do things like this. He would post...
I went to my brother's wedding and now I'm acting brand new. Value, how we started.
Post these photos on Instagram, on YouTube, value, feeling brand new. And this is all during the time that I was miscarrying.
I kept...
Yeah, that is rough. That is like it's like a cognitive dissonance. It's almost like you just never know what's happening in people's lives though, based off what they're posting. So some people do post like everything is normal while everything is crazy behind closed doors because, you know, for multiple reasons, they don't want anybody getting suspicious. They want anybody to know, but it must be so weird to be her and be like, why are you posting these things when you know what I'm going through? Why are you acting normal?
I'm updated on my health and the doctor's appointments, and he seemed to care, he seemed to worry, but just the way that he described my situation in one of his videos,
She just ended up having a miscarriage.
it's clear that he never really cared. He didn't have any empathy for me whatsoever. The fact that he doxed me and my child, my 5-year-old daughter, it makes the situation more clear for me how he spoke about me and the way that he treated me afterwards.
Also sent him a voice note. Interesting. I will say though, I am a little confused because it seemed like you and this third woman were on like relatively good terms. So what happened for her to want to talk to Libby in this fashion? Is this mainly because she felt like she was done wrong by you? Because it seems like, or she has the perception that you were still talking to Libby while you were still dealing with her. Like, why is she doing this, do you think?
I'm not entirely sure because we never spoke about it. But from what I gather, it sounds like because I was talking to other women while we were not exclusive, that's what made her upset.
Yeah, so basically what I said already.
I don't mind if, well, my thing is, yeah, we are exclusive in that I'm not seeing other people. I'm not talking to anyone else, and I don't want to. Like I said to you before, I generally am.
What a Weasley little liar, dude. What a Weasley little liar. You know what I'm saying? Telling the girls they're exclusive, telling the boys he's not exclusive.
Somebody who's kind of singular in that regards, so that's pretty normal to me. But saying I'm in a relationship feels a bit too soon, and I say that because, well, we've been talking for 3-4 weeks. We've only spent like 2 to 3 days together. The reason why I don't like the idea of saying I'm in a relationship or putting it that way is that I don't have the confidence yet to make that kind of commitment label-wise. But behaviorally, I think I understand from your perspective. You're saying you're taking this seriously. I am too. But because I'm taking it seriously, I don't feel comfortable saying I'm in a relationship yet. For me to say I'm in a relationship with somebody would mean that I'm, comfortable telling about these people to my family, my friends, or all this stuff, and I'm not. And the reason why.
Okay, versus people know day one if I'm talking to people. If I'm even talking to somebody for a second, I'm calling everybody, be like, okay, I just started talking to this person. What do we think? Like, my family is super involved in like, because, you got to tell the closest people to you, they have your back. So like the moment I started talking to my person, I was like sharing. I was like, okay, everyone huddle for a family meeting. What do we think? Okay. And the fact is like the secrecy, the privacy, but I always say like, oh, I'm just a private person. But are you? But are you a private person? Because I always feels like an excuse when you see all this shit coming out later.
Why is that it feels?
I feel like, look, I'm not a liar. I have nothing to hide. I am a private person, but you see how I'm excited to share parts of my life with the people in my life? Because I'm not a fucking liar, bro. It feels like a lot of men also are trained under patriarchy not to share their feelings with people. But then you get really grumpy because you're like, no one cares about my feelings. Okay, well, like, share your feelings. Oh, I don't want to share my feelings. I'm a man. Okay, girl, don't piss me off.
Way too soon, too fast for that. But, on the other side, I don't want you to think that I'm taking it lightly. I'm not. That's why I can say I'm exclusively talking to you. I'm romantically interested in you. I'm not sleeping around, none of that. So,
Liar, liar, liar. All of this is a lie. That's crazy, bro. See, this is why the boys will paint women as crazy. Because they will do this shit and then get on stream and say women are insane. This is gross. Like, this is so disgusting. It's so gross. And that's why I told you guys when the whole Abba Destiny thing happened, okay? And I told you when my whole thing happened and Abba only burned the bridges with Destiny because he said it's bad for his brand. I said, uh-oh. See? Because it was bad for his brand. That's what I'm saying. When I confronted Abba and I said, hey, I can't be friends with somebody who's still chilling with Destiny after everything that's happened. And Abba's like, well, did he do something really bad? And I was like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And he was like, well, that's not enough for me. These women are crazy. I was like, okay, what about me? What about the stuff he did to me? And it's just like, well, that's between you. Okay, you know what? I wish you well. Bye. You know what I mean? And we were just professional, like friends. We weren't even close like that. We were just like YouTuber to YouTuber. Now imagine what he's doing to these women he's sleeping with, getting pregnant, going through abortions or miscarriages. Do you know what I'm saying? And for him to act like, oh, these women are just crazy. These men are disgusting. And it takes a while for us to see it because they do have a good brand. Like, I think people don't understand that the way people see these men, yes, some of you knew. Some of you were like, no, this is bad, okay? Some of you knew. But the reason that it's hard to know is because they're nice to you. They don't mistreat you. Everything's chill. Yeah, there are certain yellow flags, red flags, but you're like, am I reading to this? I'm not dating this person. What do I care? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even close friends with this person. Doesn't matter. I'm working with this person. But then who's he dating? Younger women. Who's he dating? Women he's lying to. Okay. So that's why we do these videos. That's why we go over these stories time and time again. So you can see the red flags as this coming out. So you can see it at the moment they pop. Okay. The moment they pop, you're like, oh, I know what this is. Okay. And again, we're looking for patterns, but we're not being paranoid and we're not just reading into it. We're using good data to come to good conclusions. This is important. Okay. Good data to come to good conclusions. So when these men do gaslight you, when they do lie to you, when they try to trick you, you're like, hey, look, peace and love. The data says otherwise. So I hear what you're saying. I'm getting different data. I'm just going to end it here because I know you keep telling me, but your words are saying one thing and your actions are doing another. Okay. And that's going to be a problem. So whatever it is, whatever you're going through, this isn't enough for me to figure it out. Open with boundaries. I'm good.
I don't know if that kind of clears it up for you, if that feels like the answer you don't want, but I also don't want to lie to you and say, yeah, I'm in a relationship. And then,
oh, I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you. But he's lying to her right now in this moment. See, the language is so specific. I don't want to lie to you. I just want to be transparent with you. But he's lying.
you know, we spend another 3-4 days together and it doesn't work out. Like, I don't like that idea. That seems very empty. So, yeah, let me know how you feel about that answer.
Let's see, because people are asking me if I'm telling them I'm in a relationship. He said, I don't mind. My thing is blank. She said, okay, I see. He said, seems you're not very happy about that. Well, it's bullshit. It's a bullshit answer, you know?
During my
It almost sounds good. And again, it could sound good, except, again, why are you hiding me? So again, if I'm her and I'm like, hey, I kind of want to like let people know I'm in a relationship, I'm seeing somebody, and he's like, I'm not on the same page as you. Okay, let's break up. Because I would want to be with somebody who, like, listen, within just a couple weeks of talking to my partner, we went exclusive. And we started telling people that we were seeing each other and that we were trying to figure out if we were compatible. Okay? It's not that hard. When you're serious and you're ready for marriage, there's nothing to hide. What am I hiding? Yes, we're talking to each other. We're seeing if we're compatible. We're courting. Okay? What is there to hide? He's acting like talking about a girl is like coming out in his family. Okay, well, who made that the standard? It's not that way in my family. It's not that way with my friends. You know, it's not a big deal to tell people I'm dating somebody. Like, okay, and I'm seeing somebody. Why are you making it a big deal? You know, because he wants to hide it, you know?
my miscarriage, he went on a trip to Africa to his brother's wedding. He would complain about the roaming fees being like $100.
Okay, so wait, chat says, in retrospect, we can tell he's lying, but how would you tell in the moment? So again, in the moment, it wouldn't be him. Okay, guys, this is the most amazing epiphany I had after therapy and doing philosophical work. I don't have to figure out if you're lying. I have to figure out if I trust myself to make the discernment and judgment if you're lying. So in this moment, when this was happening, anything that came up ahead of it, anything that happened, she could have used it as the barrier to say, oh, no. Like, I'm good. Do you know what I'm saying? So when he told her to get a passport and get it quickly, she could have said, oh, I'm not going to get it quickly. I'll get it in 6 months. Hope that works out. You know, she could have put her own standard on it. Okay. When he said this situation, she said, okay, yeah, I hear you. I think that's so valid. Sounds like we're not compatible, but I wish you well. You know, because it's about her. Okay. It's about what she, no, not trusting your gut, chat. Never. No, we're not talking about trusting your gut. We're talking about a utilization of information your gut gives you. But like trusting your gut can be fucked from trauma. So you got to be careful about trust your gut, girls. A lot of people have a bad gut. So no, use good data. And that includes maybe partially your gut. But is it your gut or is it your pattern? Are you recognizing a pattern? Okay. It's about values. Yes, chat, centering your own standards. It's about centering your own values. It's about saying, hey, I hear you. I think that's really interesting. It just sounds like we're not compatible. When I was going on dates with people, I would never get to the second date if I had any red flags. One of the red flags is this guy who was really interested in me. I was interested in him. We had a good first date. On the way to the second date, he kept calling me and texting me, wanting to stay up late. He's like, hey, stay up with me. I work nights. Like, I want to talk to you while I'm working. And I said, hey, I got to go to bed. I have work in the morning. He goes, yeah, but if you like me, right? Stay up and talk to me. I like you. And I said, no, I don't want a second date. It's over. Because again, I already made it clear with peace and love, I have to prioritize my sleep. And if I was able to make an exception that night, I would have made it, but I couldn't. When I was courting my now partner, anytime I told him, hey, I gotta go to sleep, it's very important for me, he'd say, cool, talk to you in the morning, good night. That's it. Not fight me on it, not try to get me out of my schedule. Nothing. He never got in my way. He never tried to ruin my night, never tried to make me stay up, never made me try to prove myself. He just said, great, I'll talk to you in the morning. I'll message you in between then, but ignore my messages. I'm just sending you my thoughts. And then I would wake up to like beautiful messages from him and I would read them about philosophy or politics or something. And we talk. And that's how we did it because we were on a 9-hour different schedule. We were 9 hours apart. So, talk about long distance. We did long distance for quite some time before we met. Not a long time, but
But he was constantly on social media. He was posting value. It was upsetting for me, but I felt like I couldn't complain to him or I couldn't say anything because he would always tell me that he's having these health issues. So as to not add onto the burden of that, I just decided to keep a lot of things to myself at that point. But I did mention it to him that consistency is lacking, communication is lacking. There's something going on, there's something wrong.
There, in fact, was something wrong because before I get into these next voice messages and texts, one will be from him and one will be from me. I want to explain that if you look at this date, Friday, April 10th, this was the day that he was crashing out on his ex-girlfriend, Libby, for her having an Instagram account and calling her a cheater, which was one of the things that he mentioned in his live stream. But I want everyone to know that during this time, he was telling me that he was having health issues, that it's possibly my fault. And in the next voice messages, you will hear how frustrated I was. And I start listing out all of the things that he's doing.
Oh my God. It must have been so surreal for these girls to get together and go over their timelines and realize how many of them are overlapping. That must have been so sad. Now, Chat says, what do you think about doing something mostly harmless to bait to see how someone reacts? This has helped me so much for finding red flags as a fawning type of people pleaser, but it still feels wrong to do. Okay, I don't know what you mean by this, but I don't like the way that sounds. I do not bait people. I do not trick people. I do not test people ever. What I do instead is ask the questions I'm already curious about and have the discourse. Hey, what would you do if we had a trans kid? What do you think about that? Oh man, I'm not really into that shit. Like trans, like kids are young. They might not know anything. Like, don't you think that's kind of crazy? Okay, date's over. You don't have to trick people. People will tell you who they are. You just have to believe them. This is my problem. This is your problem. I didn't always believe people when they told me, no, you're not that bad. Don't say that about yourself. You're not that kind of guy. You're a good guy. You have to also believe people when they tell you they're a piece of shit and be like, okay, bro, you told me you're a piece of shit. Bye. Because the truth is, if you're so fucked up that you're still going around telling people you're a piece of shit, you could either go to therapy for that. Even if you are a good person and you are internalizing you're a piece of shit, girlie, you can't be out here doing that on a first date, second date, third date. If that's how you feel, go to therapy and rely on your partner in those intimate, vulnerable moments. But we're talking about first, second, third, fourth, fifth dates. I don't need to test anybody. Ask them a serious question and see how they respond. Do you know what I mean? And then believe them. If somebody tells you like, oh yeah, like I hate working, I'm super lazy, bro. Like I'm always late to work. Like I always can't pay my bills. Like, okay, thank you. Right? So I think there's just like a dilemma because I don't know what circumstance you're exactly thinking in your head, but I'll just tell you, like, believe people when they tell you who they are.
Doing in his life that may be affecting his health. But now I know that it was just him crashing out that day because he was upset that his ex-girlfriend had a baddie Instagram.
Just, I literally ended the live and I didn't touch anything else and I just slid into bed. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I just need to rest because like I'm losing my mind. This not sleeping thing is just not good for me at all. So I'm just trying to fix it. I don't want to make any impulsive decisions or decide anything right now. I don't know.
So he was liking these posts, I guess. How was responding to comments cheating if you're not together? He was with me and impregnated me. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because of us. I don't know if I have other things going on.
Friday, April 10th, text between him and his ex. Your new IG ended up on my For You page. To be honest, seeing it was pretty surprising. I understand why you hid it from me. You weren't honest about what it was, and considering the comments you made about what I followed, I can't help but feel so stupid I played for a fool.
But I just don't have any emotional anything.
This was why he couldn't sleep. The double standards in your lies. I really believed you and went to bat for a fraud. The whole time you had a secret IG to thirst trap and court attention from random dudes, and then you'd cry to me every day while doing it. I'm glad I was smart enough to stay away from you. My spirit told me you were off, and I'm at peace knowing why. You never loved me. You lied the whole relationship, and you ruined my desire to ever have children. Enjoy your found attention. It suits a vapid woman like you. Wait, is he talking about, is this Lily? Is he talking about workout videos? I wouldn't be able to sleep either if I lost her. Oh my God, cute. Okay, girl. Is he talking about the workout videos? What? What a baby. God, he's such a baby.
I just, even today during the stream, I felt jumpy. I felt...
You're blocked, so don't bother. Same for your IGs. I blocked unknown callers. You're back to being blocked. See how this man doesn't want to commit to a woman, but he's mad that she won't commit to him?
snappy. My mood was off. I just don't feel good at all.
I don't deserve to be sad at work today. He said, I don't care. Just send me my money. Your pain is irrelevant to me.
In this entire text exchange between Libby and Abba,
Oh, Libby, not Lily, Libby.
he is just berating her, belittling her, telling her that she's a cheater, that she never loved him, demanding for her to send him back almost $10,000. And he's just being
Oh, is he the kind of guy who pays for stuff and goes, I'm a gentleman, I pay for stuff. But then when shit falls out, he goes, pay me back? That's bullshit behavior. This is why I don't take money from men. Oh, you guys want to know another reason I don't take money from men? Rarely. I'll allow friend groups. Like if I'm at a work event, I'll allow people to pay. Like if it's a friend event, I will allow people to pay, but I'm not going to pay you back like that. If you already said don't pay me back, you can't weaponize it against me. But if we're dating or intimate and a man's like, let me spend this money on you, I'm like, not unless there's a ring on it, girl, or unless it makes sense. Because unless we have a deal, because like, you are not going to come back for me. God knows she doesn't make that money, and he does. He's made millions, right? He's very rich. These women are not rich. So $10,000 for him is no big deal. But for these women, that could be 4 months of income. You know what I mean?
absolutely horrible, malicious, and disgusting in these text messages.
He said, still lying, send the money. You always have anxiety and panic attacks because you're lying to yourself at this point, but deep down you know. So just send the money. It will help you feel better.
And this is no different to how he treat her during their relationship. And I'll be going deeper in depth on this in another video, but
She said, I love you. I still do. To this day, I think about you. One thing I realized, though, is that you will always laugh and feel like I deserve this kind of pain. So many instances, I have just begged you not to block me or believe me, and I look so pathetic. I love you. I always will. I have to believe now you really do enjoy to see me. You enjoy me like and see me like this way. I do, too. I think he likes to. I do. I think he's kind of sadistic.
want it to be clear that this is how he is and how he was to her when they were together, which is why all of
He said, okay, cheater. She said, I need to have respect for myself. He said, just send the money. You respect your infidelity. She didn't even cheat. But someone so shameless won't send the money. She said, I never cheated. You canceled multiple flights and watched me cry and begged me not to. She didn't even cheat, bro.
this spiraled in the way that it has. The reason why I'm showing these is to emphasize
She said, you were damning and replying to men other than me at the same time. What? That doesn't mean it's cheating.
the fact that while he's telling everyone else that his ex-girlfriend is a cheater, telling everyone else that we were not exclusive, he's actually lying straight to your faces.
Literally.
He crops things out of context. He lies to his viewers, and he's getting away with it. A lot of his viewers started attacking her and attacking us for coming out with all of this information.
Exactly.
Personally, I think a lot of his words to her
He said, you're shameless. You're shameless.
is just projection. He says that she's a pathological liar, that she's a cheater. This is your idea of
Yeah, I think it's totally projection.
love. In reality, it's him. He's the one that's pathologically lying. He's the one that is cheating. He's going behind women's back, sleeping with other women and not telling them that he is sleeping around, tricking them into unprotected sex, saying that he has low sperm count or that he's infertile or that he just doesn't like condoms. He makes himself seem like a stand-up type of person to his
Totally.
viewers, that he is someone that people can look up to, when in reality, he's doing all the things that he talks down on in his
Absolutely.
personal life. He's criticized Destiny. He's criticized Fresh and Fit. He's criticized a lot of men who have mistreated women. And he's spoken about how pregnancy, hormones, after pills, all of this can affect a woman's body. He's spoken about how treating women with dignity and respect is extremely important. And yet he's doing all of this behind the scenes. Look at how he's talking to her. Look at how he's treated me. Look at how he's lied about me. Look at how he's lied about Libby. This is the true Abba. That is, in my humble opinion. I'd also like to emphasize how during this time he was crashing out on his ex-girlfriend.
Look, just for the record, girls, all of these women keep saying, my gut, I had the thought, and like I wondered, that anxiety you're feeling, that uneasiness, that's a part of it. But here's the thing, going back to the conversation about like, do I trust my gut? When I say like it's impacted by your trauma, I'm not saying your gut is wrong. I'm saying your gut isn't enough information, right? So if you're feeling bad about a person, you don't need to know why. You can walk away and then figure it out, right? But I don't want you to trust your gut, because sometimes your gut tells you to give a guy a second chance. Sometimes your gut will say, oh, but I really feel like he's a good guy in his heart of hearts, and I just want to trust my gut, and like I believe he's a gentleman. Your gut can also convince you to stay with a man. So like your gut just isn't enough information. What you need is principles or values you stand on to rely on when things are questionable. So it's about what you're doing. Remember, a boundary is for what you will do. An ultimatum is what you want them to do. I don't give ultimatums. I just have boundaries. So again, it's like, it's hard because you do have to learn it. It took me a really long time to learn it myself. So I'm not judging you. It took me a really long time. And even then, even though I learned it with romantic partners, I'm still learning it with friends. Hear that. Even though I really figured it out when it came to lovers, it's still taking me a while to figure it out with friends, because I'm like, so I'm getting better at it too. But that's what I'm trying to say, because, you know, we all fall for it in different ways. I mean, look, Abba and I collabed in the past. I agree. Abba came off gentlemanly, thoughtful, considerate. There were some red flags, but I wasn't dating him, so what the fuck did I care? You know, and they weren't the biggest red flags. They were more like bubbled red flags, where I'm like, yeah, that's a red flag in my bubble. Like an example is one time we were all in Miami having dinner. I've told the story 1,000 times. And there was somebody at the table who was married. And he was sharing that when he goes on business trips, when he goes on trips with the boys, he tells his wife their business trips. And I was like, why do you lie to your wife? He's like, look, I don't cheat on my wife, but I'm not going to tell her the truth. Like, I want to go out with the boys, but I don't want her to think I'm always partying. So I just tell her it's a business trip. And I'm like, ew, that's really gross. And this was my first and only time meeting these people. And then even Abba at the table thought it was crazy that I was like, no, I just tell my partner the truth. I don't lie to my partner. And he's like, that's kind of crazy. I was like, that's kind of crazy that I don't keep things from my partners. And everyone's like, yeah, Brittany. I was the only one at that table who was like, yeah, you guys are weird. And then I realized, like, okay, these people are like very different from me. Like, we're talking about like very different values. But again, I wasn't dating anybody. I wasn't fucking anybody. It just didn't feel like my place as a YouTuber doing a collaboration who wasn't even very close to anybody to then like, okay, you guys are weird. Like, you know what I mean? So that would have been a better red flag at the moment, to be like, I don't want to even collab with you. But then you see me now struggling about who to collab with. There's so many philosopher YouTubers I want to collab with, but they're all collabing with Destiny, or they're collabing with people who are adjacent, or they're collabing with transphobes. I mean, Hassan Piker just did a collaboration with that transphobe. What's his name? Mr. Borelli, that guy who's like one of the most outspoken people on Palestine. Yeah, well, he's also a transphobe. He's also a fucking asshole. So like, how do we pick and choose who do we collaborate with? If like, you know what I'm saying? And he said horrible things during that interview with Hassan too. And that's the problem. So men are always compromising their values to build bridges with horrible people. But you have to understand, when women do it, it comes at the expense of possibly our life. We're talking about us getting hounded by these male audiences, us being dragged in these comments. Like, men survive this. Men become rich. All these men are rich. Notice how none of the women are rich? Because all the women end up taking the brunt of the consequence of standing up for your values. So that's why I say to you, like, I'm very empathetic. It takes a lot of work to discern, but that's why I want you to use good data, and I want you to default to your values, which you probably don't have, because most people are not taught to form values. Most people are taught to perform values. Like Abba is performing a value. Okay, people are performing a value. Yeah, Norm Finkelstein. Thank you, chap. They're performing a value. And I'm saying that's why Hassan can be misogynistic and get away with it, because he's allowed to perform a value of caring. Okay. That's why Abba gets to perform being a gentleman, because that's all his audience needs. Okay. All these men, they just need to perform caring, and it's enough. And I'm saying that's the problem. And then people believe it. And then people go, oh, I can't believe you're so mean to these guys. Like, they're working on it. It's hard. They're deconstructing patriarchy. That's why I say, like, you gotta rely on your own values. So write that down. Figure out, what are my values? What do I stand for? What's a red flag? What am I not even compromising on? That was the rule I gave myself when I went back to dating. I said, okay, what are the things I'm not even, even if one answer is wrong, no second date. And people thought I was too strict, but I found my high compatibility partner. I'm 4 years in, and we are so happy. Every single day, girls, if you're going to be with somebody who after 4 years, you're happy every single fucking day. These people were together a few months. Look at her life. She knew. That's what I'm saying. Like, girl, you don't need 4 years to figure it out. I promise you. The flags are there day one. You just got to look for them. Believe people when they tell you who they are. I promise you. Okay? It's better to be single and have a fabulous life. Okay? But if you're going to end up with someone, make sure it's your high compatibility partner so they respect and love you. And you love and respect them.
Friend who was telling me that he's having health issues, as I said before. And in the next clips after this text exchange, I will be showing you my reaction to him telling me that he's having a bad day, that he hasn't been sleeping. And in this reaction, I'm telling him how there's so many things before me that is affecting his health. He drinks so much alcohol during his streams. He doesn't sleep. He has an irregular sleep schedule. He only works out through salsa. And all of these things can drastically affect someone's health, especially the fasting, eating 1 meal a day, the lack of working out that he does. His health is shot. And this is why I say his health issues may or may not be true.
So rather than say something stupid to you or to myself, I just want to sleep. Fucking 5 p.m. and Friday, and just pray that tomorrow's a better day. So that's all I have for you right now, and I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna be nice. So for one, the alcohol. You drink a lot of alcohol, okay? And you drink it before bed. All right, we all know alcohol is poison. We all know it affects our sleep. Boom. There's one issue. 2, you overwork yourself. You're working all day, every day. You don't take a break. You go to dance class and you dance multiple days a week for hours on end. Boom. 2, 3 things. On top of that, you're using electronics constantly before bed while you're in bed. 4 things right there. All right? I don't know. There could be some other things as well that I am not aware of. But just off the top of my head, those are the 4 things that I can think of immediately from what I have seen in person and over FaceTime and over your stream. Okay? Personally, I don't think you've been prioritizing your health very well. You're up late. You don't go to sleep until like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. You wake up around 12 or 1. And then you're fasting. Boom, 5 things. You're fasting constantly. You're eating 1 meal a day if you're not fasting. What do you think that does to your body?
Okay, 2 things. I just got to put this in here. Because Abba is ADHD, I'm just going to let you guys know ADHD is crazy, okay? And this sounds like ADHD to me, so I'm not surprised. But yes, like, no, like, self-inflicted wounds, but also ableism, but also, like, I think people don't understand how bad ADHD is. It truly is a disability, but Abba doesn't know he's disabled because he's not really engaging in that reality, right? But he is disabled. It's not surprising to me that he's doing any of this because sounds like every, But I will just say this, it's why I don't make fun of people for how they sleep or how they are, because you just don't know why people are suffering in the middle of the night. I will say it's easy to attack him for these things because he's an asshole, right? But a really decent person could also be doing these things and just actually struggling with their ADHD because they don't know how to fucking get it under control. But I would just say that, I hear her. I get it. She's angry. She's upset. I get it. I would definitely probably say something similar of like, hey, you keep telling me you can't show up because you're sick, but you're making yourself sick, and it's very frustrating to me. Would you like to go to therapy to help with your ADHD? Because otherwise, it's ruining our relationship, our friendship, our whatever. Okay? So I would just say that that's the way I would say it. Hey, I see you. I'm acknowledging it. Are we going to do something about it? Because you can't keep saying, oh, I feel sick, so I can't be responsible, and I'm allowed to hurt you because I'm sick. So maybe there's another way to have that conversation. You know what I mean? But just, for all my people out there, it really does bother me when people will name the exact symptoms of ADHD and then be like, oh, he's lazy. It's like, well, I mean, it is a disability, but okay, I hear you. I get it.
What do you think that does? Trust me, I've been there. Taking showers, I would almost faint from how little that I was eating. You think working your ass off the way that you do on top of the way that you're eating is helping? Sincerely.
And by the way, there's no doubt he downplays this. There's no doubt she probably doesn't know. There's no doubt that there's just such a misunderstanding of ADHD that she has no reason to think that it matters. But also, girls, you have to think about this. What I mean, when you're dating, autistic, ADHD, OCD, whoever you're dating, neurotypical, I couldn't date it. I don't know. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I don't even know what that would look like. You know what I mean? To date a neurotypical, because that sounds crazy. But everyone can do what they want. I'm open to whoever my person ends up being, right? I'm married, but you know what I mean. So I just keep that in mind.
I don't know if any of your friends have mentioned this to you, but so someone's gotta say it. Someone's gotta tell you something. You need to prioritize your health a little bit better than you are currently. And I mean, you're working out. That's good.
He has a CPAP machine too, right? He has what's that called? He has that. So yeah, and also to be fair, when Abba and I did that collaboration together, I did see this because we were roomies while we were in Miami. Which, by the way, he did see a girl while we were there. I don't know which girl that was. I met her. She was nice. I actually, because we were staying together, but I did meet a girl. She was very nice. Shout out to that girl. But I don't know her name. I don't remember it. She was very pretty. But he did see a girl in Miami. So if any of you girls were dating ABBA during that time, he was seeing a girl in Miami. I don't know what that means. Okay? But yeah, his habits in that house were crazy. Like he was, I don't know, doing something middle of the night, like up, like kind of, I don't know. I kind of got the impression that he was on something, but I didn't know what it was. Okay. So I don't know. But either way, none of my business. Again, I'm a big proponent of drugs, so not my business. But, you know, now that I'm hearing this, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he was just medicating himself, which is the bad part. Like medicating yourself because of your symptoms. Plus, if he's on meds for ADHD, you can't be mixing things with that. So you got to be careful. You know, there's layers to this is what I'm saying.
But that's on top of working, doing dance, fasting, drinking alcohol, and all the other things. Okay? So yes, your heart rate is gonna go up. Your heart rate's gonna go up, especially with the fasting. You need to have a proper diet. You need to have proper amounts of proteins, fats, and carbs in your diet. Intermittent fasting is fine. I've done it. But you really need to balance this shit out. Genuinely. And me catching the fade, even though I fell asleep at 7 p.m. last night, right? I left you alone. We had the phone call. We were on the same page about going slow, about not being in a relationship, all this, and that's fine. But I don't want to catch a fade for something that I am not causing. I did not make you stay up all day today. I did it. And the first thing I hear back from you is another worrisome voice message about making impulsive decisions, if it's about us or me or whatnot. Look, I'm trying to give you a proper amount of space because I can be overbearing. And I understand that. And I don't
She said, I thought I was being overbearing for needing reassurance and consistency. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider her overbearing at this point.
want to put more stress on you than you already have. And which is what I'm trying to do. But I need to be straight up with you. The shit that you're doing is not good for your health. It simply isn't. Go to the doctor. I almost cried earlier because I sent you messages earlier this morning, right? The last message I sent was around noon. And I didn't message you at all for the rest of the day. The first thing I hear back from you is that, which is not a problem. I don't have a problem with you venting to me or with telling me that you're not feeling well and you're struggling with stuff. But don't throw me under the bus.
Right.
When there's a million other things before me that is affecting how you're sleeping. And now I'm in a stage of being upset because what the fuck did I do? What did I do? I don't know, I'm laughing because if I don't laugh, I'm either gonna cry or just start shaking. And I'm already shaking a little bit. Reassess the behaviors, the habits that you have in your life right now. That I don't fucking know, man.
But needless to say, with all of this going on, my feelings started to decline drastically. Every time that I contacted this person, talked to this person, just interacted with this person, it would stress me out. It would give me anxiety. It would cause me constant worry. I was crying so often that being involved with this person wasn't adding anything to my life. In fact, it's taken more than added anything whatsoever. That's when in early May, his ex-girlfriend, Libby, came out with a video talking about her pregnancy. After this point in time, everything got worse for me because I went through a lot of mind fucks. I went through so much confusion.
I can only imagine.
It was debilitating. I was not leaving the house. I was not eating. I wasn't doing anything. After this ex-girlfriend came out with her video about her pregnancy with him, he immediately told me that this person was blackmailing him. This individual was a stalker, harassing him, his friends, his family. At the time, I was like, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. And I believed him. And I was like, that's a horrible thing to go through. But thinking back on it, I remember his conversation with me about his ex-girlfriend from December, because he's told me that he had an ex-girlfriend as recent as December, and we had started talking in March. So I was like, wow, that's pretty soon to be moving on, and you say that it was a pretty serious relationship. He said that the relationship ended in December of 2025 and that it only ended because they had different views on the future, family planning,
Oh, he never disclosed the pregnancy.
Whatever. When he was telling me all of this, he never had anything negative to say about his ex-girlfriend, Libby. He either stayed neutral or he said positive things about the relationship. But then when she comes out with a video, he took a 180. Now he's telling me that she's a blackmailer, she's crazy, she's a stalker.
Chet said, how many people has he done this to? It's up to 7 women so far. 7 women have come out.
But at that point, I was going through a miscarriage and I didn't have the emotional capacity to really care. Well, I didn't exactly pretend to care. I did care. But during this time, I was experiencing the miscarriage and I was dealing with a lot of stuff internally. So it would take a lot of energy for me to show a lot of care and enthusiasm with all of this coming out. All I could do for him was listen, say I'm sorry that happened to you. I told him things like, I'm sorry that happened to you. And
let's see.
Him was listen, say I'm sorry that happened to you. I told him things like,
you told me only because your ex made a video, ? Yeah, I didn't want to tell people yet. To be honest, I needed time, but she didn't allow me. So sorry for the timing. She said, I'm terribly sorry you had to go through that. Maybe you need some time to heal. It's like when you're talking to someone, you're like, yeah, I'm sorry that happened. What do I do here? It's hard because you usually believe the person you know versus the person who's, but eventually, obviously, she learned that like, oh, I can't trust him, period, you know?
Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I even recommended to him what he should do with all of this. Like, I told him if this is a serious situation where
She said, I've been stalked before. The last thing I would do is send a stalker that's harassing me. That is harassing me a pic of my coochie. Yeah, so like it's very complicated because all of us have our own history and our own understanding and our own pattern. It's very hard to know who's telling you the truth. I've been through this, you've been through this. Like it's really difficult to be like, wait, who's telling me what? It's really jarring too to find out that like, oh my God, like I thought this was happening, but this is happening. This is why I say like, as you get older, I understand now why my parents, as they got older, had less and less friends. I do. Like, I know why they have besties now, like true besties, like one or two people they're close to. Because when you got 20 friends and 30 friends and 40 friends and you're that couple, and my early childhood, my parents would get together every weekend, all the neighbors. I feel like everybody. And now as they get older, I feel them. As I get older, I'm like close friends and, you know, a select few, and everybody else kick rocks. Because,
somebody is blackmailing you, stalking you, harassing you, maybe you should post timelines to prove their claims wrong. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. All he wanted to do was live stream showing her sex, sending fans to sexually harass her on her social medias, dox her workplace where she lived. On top of that, he attacked her childhood traumas and her, like, he used suicide and self-harm and mental health as a way to discredit her. Without going too far into it, he has a lot of contradictions about his ex-girlfriend, and those will be coming to light very soon. But anyway, since we're at the point where the ex-girlfriend came out and he gave me this different explanation on what type of ex-girlfriend she is, I was in a state of confusion. I was, you know, going through the miscarriage. I was going through all these health problems. I was going to the ER. I really didn't have a clue what was going on. I wasn't necessarily watching everything in detail. I had a lot of things that I had to take care of. But after seeing his live stream, there was a part of me that got the ick because why are we talking about this? Why, like, all the things that he mentioned in his video, why are we talking about this? Like, my thoughts about his live stream were, I was in a big state of confusion because at the time I was like, okay, so this person is stalking and harassing you, but why do you still have her number? Why do you still have her pictures? Why do you still contact her? And you've been contacting her the entire time that we've been talking? What? The entire time that I was pregnant? The entire time that I was miscarrying? In the next video that I'm going to post, I will be talking about those contradictions, but he was crashing out on her for her Instagram account.
And like just being that shit of a person to have a girl pregnant in that moment. And think about your fucking Instagram, because like no one's allowed to have
this is from Steph?
Any fucking fun except for him.
A couple days.
This is the other girl, right?
Before I told him about the pregnancy. So I was pregnant during the time that he was calling her a cheater, calling her slurs, sending her spam messages about this Instagram account that she made after they broke up. I wanted to be supportive of him going through this because I was still, you know, I was still connected with him at this time. I was going through the miscarriage. There was still an attachment, I will say. There was still an attachment, and it took me a while to detach. But then I think I saw a video of the ex-girlfriend talking about another woman that reached out to her, and at the time I was so confused. I thought she was talking about me. I thought she was saying that I was talking to her, but no, it turns out there was a different woman that he was messing with since 2021.
Pregnant in December 2022, and he had sent...
Oh, yes. Okay, this is Stephanie. I saw this video as well. I didn't get a chance to get through it, but I saw this was another video when I was looking up this video. So this is the other girl. Man, I feel so bad for all these women.
An STD test prior, and also he had told me he had a kidney disease, and in his words, kids just aren't happening for him.
Fine. And so I had healthy checkups and I had some health issues. So I went to the doctor. That's what they told me. There's years between these periods.
Well, she told me this. She told me that you had also told her you were on some medication that would make you infertile, but that's like not the case. That's like really bad.
Listen, I don't want to publish my own medical information and what the doc told me.
2.5 years ago, I went to the doctor.
See how it's always like privacy? Like it sounds really reasonable. Like, oh, I'm just a private person, but he's hiding shit. That's why, guys, please lock in on the concept of gossip, the origins of gossip, learn the history. It really is about women coming together to share information to avoid unsafe situations. It's not about slandering people's reputation. That's just malicious gossiping. But women confiding in each other, women coming to each other, women confirming, you know, especially if you have a gut reaction. See, we'll go back to the gut now. Okay, maybe you're having... excuse me, an intuition feeling or something feels off, or maybe you're seeing a pattern. Like you're like, hey, what are you doing? Like something feels fucked up about this. Okay, that's when you go talk to people. That's when you go talk to people because you're like, no, something feels wrong. Like there's one thing about keeping certain things that happen in your relationship private for privacy's sake. I'm about that. Cool. But if you are going to sleep crying, if you are confused, if you are feeling abandoned, if your life is declining, the quality of your life is declining, something is wrong. You are allowed to think something is wrong when your quality of life is declining. Okay? I wish people would pay more attention to the economy in this regard. Hey, hello? Your quality of life is declining because something is wrong. The economy is bad. The world is wrong. Something is wrong. Same with your relationships.
And essentially, I won't get to the long gist of the conversation because it's none of your fucking business.
I do, however, believe today that he's a liar.
This woman, she also got pregnant sometime in 2021 or 2022. I forget. But she also got an abortion. And she had contacted the ex-girlfriend. But at the time, because I was going through such a mindfuck, because I was so confused.
Wait, hold on. My internet cut out for a second. Am I back? I should be back. Uh-oh. Hold on. Taking a sweet pause. Everybody like the stream. Well, this decides to come back. Everybody like the stream. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, everybody like the stream.
I didn't know what was going on. And Abba was telling me one thing. I was just like, oh my God, she's talking about me. And his explanation about Steph, because it finally clicked that, oh, there's another one? Huh? He told me that this individual was someone that he only went on 2 dates with. This woman is somebody that he's known since 2021, who got pregnant, got an abortion. And he was meeting her while talking to me. He flew her out about a week and some change before he flew me out. He was telling me that
he is so gross. You just know he's not getting tested. I wonder if he's showing girls bad testing, like old tests, you know? Because how is he sleeping with one girl, no condoms, and then sleeping with another girl just a week or two later? There's not enough room for testing. You don't have enough a waiting period there.
He wasn't sleeping around. He wasn't talking to anyone, that we were exclusive romantically, physically, whatever.
Which, by the way, there are things that are criminally illegal here. If you are knowingly spreading stuff, if you are giving people, like, you can be prosecuted for stuff like that, you know? So I am really curious, like, I'm just saying.
He told me all of this and then flew out another woman, raw dogged her.
Ooh, chat, let's just pay attention to the fact that there are optics here. So don't write stuff like filthy animal in my chat when we're talking about a black man, right? Like we are talking about. And I just want, this is why I say don't call humans animals in a derogatory way when we're talking about people, especially people of color. So just like, I don't want any of that to fly in this chat, because as much as we're angry at him, there's still a racist connotation to the fact that a black man is doing this. And I don't want us to play into that, especially all these girls are light skinned or white, and I don't want to play into that as well. So just remember there is an intersectionality at play here, which, by the way, you know, it is interesting. But yeah, just like, pay attention.
Put me at risk for STDs. You think I'm not thinking about that right now? I am. And this is how I found out about the crime called rape by fraud, which if you look it up, a lot of this could have fallen under that, rape by fraud. A lot of jurisdictions consider this a criminal act, but it depends on, you know, the circumstances. I would say that sleeping around and possibly giving somebody an STD, that can fall under rape by fraud. I'm just gonna let that float in the air for a little bit.
Well, can false impregnation be a thing too? Like, isn't there a thing about getting people pregnant too? I always thought that was a rule. Something about like the serial. You have to prove a pattern. But I thought that was something too.
I don't appreciate somebody lying to my face, putting my health at risk. An STD is just another layer on top of that. But as I said before, I trusted this individual. He said he's clean. I get myself tested. If anyone asks me for those test results, I give it to them. That's kind of the base, the foundation that I was at the time when I was seeing this individual. I was like, okay, we're two adults. We're honest with each other. We communicate. I don't have any reason to suspect that he's a dirty individual, that he's sleeping around.
And mind you, girls, just lock in on this point, because this is one of the other tactics they use. Her reputation is in the toilet because she slept with Abba. Clock that. Get it together. Wrap it up. Lock in. Her reputation is now ruined because she slept with Abba. And Abba's going to say, well, how good of a person can you be? You slept with me. And then his boys and all the boys in that bubble are like, wow, how good of a girl could you be if you slept with Abba? And then Abba, so that's how the misogyny works. That's how patriarchy works. Women are gross for sleeping with these men, but these men are not at fault for anything they do.
Like all of this. So I just wanted to clarify that that was another thing that I have an issue with, and is why that I'm speaking out as much. And with all of the stalking and harassment that was going on, he told me that it was his ex some of the profiles, the Instagram profiles, belong to her. But later we find out that that's not true. Those accounts are fake accounts made by whoever the fuck. But there were a couple accounts that had the same email, because we tried to log into that shit, and I hope you're watching this. We found that some of those accounts had the same email. So we know for a fact that it's at least one individual that has multiple accounts. It's not the ex-girlfriend. It's somebody else. It could be a
I thought so. There's somebody in this mix who's trying to do something.
Stalker of the individual I'm talking about, or it could just be a random in the community that has nothing better to do, or is just, you know, they don't really have much in their life going on. She actually reached out to me on her main accounts. This is why I started thinking, okay, if she's reaching out to me on her main accounts, why would she use these anonymous accounts? It just doesn't make sense to me. I told Abba that she reached out to me, and he told me to send her a text back saying, I saw the live, get help. He was telling me that she was harassing and stalking him as well, on top of course, you know, his friends and his coworkers. I'm like, this lady is crazy. She's insane. To be honest, he made a fool out of me. Because I can't believe that I said those things to her, that I talked about her that way, that I actually believed all of his...
We've all been there. We've all been there, girl. We've all been there.
Lies and cover-ups over this woman.
This is why, especially with the work I've been doing recently, I'm always saying, look, statistically under patriarchy, it's more likely that he's at fault. But not because he's biologically a man, because I don't believe in bioessentialism, because he's been trained as a man under patriarchy. And unless he's unlearned that shit, it's most likely him. Because women are also trained under patriarchy, and we're trained a specific way. We've all been there. Okay. We always want to believe that, like, well, you know, I don't want to just say that a woman is innocent because she's a woman. But the truth is like, statistically, she's not going to be at fault, you know? And that's not because she is a woman. It's because she is a woman who's been trained under patriarchy, which is different. The systems are training you to act a certain way. You think you're just making these decisions. You think you have free will. You think this is your original thought. This was trained into Abba, trained into her, trained into all of us. You have to unlearn the training, figure out your real values, show up in the world authentically. It's all very difficult. So what are the chances any of these people have done it? No wonder, right?
Who suffered an excruciating amount of pain throughout their relationship, and with her pregnancy being blocked for weeks at a time. I cringe. I cringe thinking about it. I cringe. I want to add on that when I reached out to Libby to talk shit, I was talking mad shit to her. I was having a breakdown. Okay.
Okay, good accountability though. Accountability, take it, say it. Say I can't believe it, because the truth is that's how they do it. They weaponize the girls in the family. This is what I've learned with my own family. The moment one of my brothers comes to me and starts talking about crazy bitches, I go, pause, no. Whatever you're about to say in the follow-up, no. Because what do you mean? Okay. Are you angry and just expressing an emotion that this is why we go to therapy? Listen, the reason you go to therapy, girls, is so you can say things to a therapist that maybe doesn't sound the greatest, doesn't even reflect your values, but comes from a real vulnerable place. Okay. When you're saying it to your friends and family, yeah, you got to be careful, because the safe space you might be looking for might be one where they're trying to discern, okay, are you actually saying this for real? Like, oh, I killed that bitch. I killed that bitch. Is that something literal, or are you just saying something that's in your feelings? Because like these are two different things. And the truth is statistically, angry exes do kill their wives. So then the question is, how are you talking about her? Okay, I understand that you might just be angry. But in my personal experience, this is anecdotal, okay? Personal experience, all the men that have ever come to me to yell about a woman's behavior always ended up being at fault. I can't even think of one that wasn't true, okay? Because they all pull this. She's crazy. What did this bitch say? This bitch is a liar. And then you find out he's cheating, he's lying, he's sleeping with minors.
Was really upset about the miscarriage. I sent her a picture of the pregnancy test and this like really big paragraph. I immediately deleted it though, because after I told Abba about it, he crashed out on me. But I was telling him that I was trying to defend him, that I was trying to tell her to stop, that this is gone too far. He called me he said that I betrayed him, that he can't trust me anymore.
Oh, I love the weaponization of the betrayal, right? Like, oh, you betrayed me. Ugh. How many times have we seen this? That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody's unique. You know, really, truly, nobody's unique, huh? Same. How many of us have been in similar situations? We know exactly who this is. We've had this. Our text messages would look almost the same. It really is funny how our lives, like, been here, done this.
Later on, it finally clicks to me that that's such a weird response. If there's nothing for you to hide, why are you so upset that I am defending you? I don't know. It's just an odd response, especially when someone's trying to tell you that, hey, I didn't have any malice intent. I was genuinely trying to defend you and to try to help in this situation, because at that time I cared. I felt like I should do something. Maybe she should know that this is also affecting other innocent lives. I find out later that he lied to me about her stalking me, harassing me. He lied about her making multiple accounts, sending stuff to multiple friends, family, whatever. He lied about all of that. We know that for sure now. I think I mentioned our dynamic a little bit before, but to repeat what I said, our dynamic was basically me apologizing to him, me trying to reassure him, me trying to comfort him, make him feel good, better about himself. Sometimes it was me trying to beg for communication. At a certain point, it was just, I would say it was going in an unhealthy direction because I personally think he's just an unhealthy individual. He's not healthy
100%.
in his life.
Yeah.
He doesn't have healthy habits.
Right.
He doesn't have healthy behavior. And he
Right.
doesn't have healthy relationships. Eventually, I block him.
It would be different if he was healthy everywhere else, but his ADHD was really, really fucking with him, right? But it's not. His ADHD being off the walls is also a part of off the walls. Is that ableist? But like the point is like the it's everything in his life. But ABBA has a really good brand. His brand looks put together, but now it's unraveling. It's like unraveling at the seams, you know what I mean? So I think that's what's happening now. And I think he relied on his brand for so long. I mean, it worked on me, you know what I mean? To be honest, like I said, he was a total gentleman when we were interacting. So I didn't think about it, right? And still, even though he was a gentleman to me, the way he treated other people, the way he hung out with Destiny after everything happened, ended up making me realize, oh, the way he treated me was also unkind. Because he was like, oh, I guess the beef between you and Destiny. I was like, Abba, it's not beef. Destiny and I don't have beef. He's harassed me. I had to deal with a harass campaign for 2 years. Like, I had to deal with people like smearing my name and no one defending me in public. Like, once again, I'm all alone in this because I'm a girl in this space and all of you just like let it slide as beef. It's not beef. It's like really serious. And I had to make the decision not to stand up for myself in public because I knew it would make my life harder. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't understand why you don't see how bad this is. And then everything after, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these men make it look like, oh, I'm not getting involved, but I support you, or I'm not getting involved, but, you know, I'm rooting for you. But that's the problem. You're not getting involved in a thing you're already involved in because you're all there. You keep collabing, you keep associating. You know what I'm saying? So again, it takes a long time to get through all of this and to realize like, okay. And then, you know, what sucks is these men will say, I don't know why women think all men are misogynistic. What about me? Yeah, what about you? And by the way, this is what I'm saying about everything. You know, with the hard part is like, a lot of people just aren't safe, but they don't even know they're not safe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. They don't even know they're unsafe. And I think maybe that's part of the entitlement part is like, how could I be unsafe when I'm me? And I think that's maybe where this is coming. This is the patriarchy of it all. Men will literally brag about being protectors while they're beating you, while they're cheating on you. I'm a protector. I'm a provider. I'm a protector. I'm a provider. Yeah, I cheated on her. It's like,
and I post something on Reddit. I can put it right here. This post, I was still sort of unsure about Libby and them, but I was also still defending.
Whoop, hold on. What's this? So now I think I have to formally ask the individuals involved in trying to spread my information who are sending cruel messages. Please stop contacting me and sharing my personal info. I have seen the posts degrading me for being a mother, the weird comments. I've seen the post sharing my photos. Okay. The online relationship and drama is the least important thing to spend time ruminating on. I know I'm just words on the screen, and most of you are detached from emotions to reality, but please understand the consequences of your actions. Okay.
Habit in this post, I was basically saying, here's a little rundown. All of this stuff needs to be settled offline. There's no reason to be putting all of this information online. People need to think about how this is affecting real people in real life. You can get the gist of it from that. Eventually, I was willing to connect with the ex-girlfriend and the second woman, but they didn't really trust me either because of all of this like weird stalking harassment going on because they were getting messages about me and about ABBA as well. And it's all a mindfuck. They didn't trust me. They thought that I was a fake. They thought that I was a weirdo. And so that's why I posted that unorganized ass video from the get-go, the one where I showed the miscarriage video where I was showing text.
Oh, it was just, that's her. We covered this on stream. Oh, that was her. Okay,
it was all over the place. I needed to post that so that they could take me seriously, that they could see that I'm real, and for others to take me seriously.
See how men, okay, so men just get trusted on their word, right? ABBA's fans just believed him. And then the girls started coming out with evidence because the girls are never believed. The girls have to show evidence. And what are the girls' evidence, by the way? Vulnerable messages, medical paperwork, history, Okay, pictures of miscarriages. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, the women, in order to be believed, have to have the receipts. The men just have to come out with the story. That's why this illusion of like, oh, believe women, believe women. Okay, we say believe women because you never do. And we're not saying believe women blindly. We're saying believe women and then seek the receipts. But the thing is, women are never believed when they talk. They always have to have receipts first. That's why when I first put out my video about Destiny, everyone was like, she doesn't have the receipts. She doesn't have receipts. And I was like, listen, I don't have the receipts, but I'm telling you the truth, and I want to get it over with. I never want to talk to this man again. I never want to watch him again. I never want to be a part of this bubble again. These men are dangerous. And then the universe was on my side. Bless the stars. Like 2 weeks later, the DMs between him and Lauren Southern dropped, and I was vindicated. Because they're right. I didn't have the receipts. All I had was Destiny's word. All I had was Melina's word. All I had is what they told me. Okay? And boom. And it was like, oh, fuck. And then people came back to that video and apologized. They were like, I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you. You were right. You were telling the truth. Yes, I was telling the truth. Thank you. Because I have no reason to lie to you. What do I have to? Well, I know that everybody says that. But I mean, literally. I just wanted to get it over with. I never want to talk about it again. And so there it was. Yeah. Yeah, that video did age like fine wine. Thank you, chat. It did age like fine wine.
As well, because when you come out with a claim online, you need to show something to back it up with. You know what I mean? That's why I posted the receipts on YouTube. But
mind you, Destiny and Abba and everyone was so mad at me for being more lenient on Sneeko, who was 10 years younger. And I told them, you know why I stopped talking to Sneeko? Does everybody remember? Because 3 women came forward. That's why I stopped talking to Sneeko. I cut Sneeko off the moment women came forward. That was it. Bye. When the men were like, you shouldn't talk to Sneeko. I was like, he's 10 years younger than us. You guys are doing worse things and he's 10 years younger than you. Think about that. Think about every person who told me I was dumb for being nice to a 26-year-old kid. Well, they were all 35, 40, whatever, fucking 22-year-old, 19-year-olds. In some cases, 17-year-olds. Okay? Just think about that. And by the way, now I don't talk to any of these men because all these men got victims. Isn't that interesting? But know that when a woman comes forward, I will always cut a man off for you, girl. Okay? Because I always have, and that's my pattern. Okay? That's my pattern. Okay? Well, given the context, obviously, asterisks, details pending, you know.
But at the time, I hadn't talked to them yet. The phone call happened after I posted the videos onto YouTube. Even still in the phone call, I didn't know everything. I didn't know all of the information that I know now. So with that being said, he sent me one of the last emails because I blocked him, so he sent me an email. He told me that he saw that I blocked him, I guess.
Okay, hold on, I want to see.
Last emails because I blocked him, so he sent me an email. He told me
folks are generating texts I've never sent. They showed me emails you've never sent, and then you said I'm Jay, I don't know what this means, who've been DMing me, so this feels super confusing. Listen, if you want to cut contact, I'll respect that, but I'm just hoping to clear some things up because some of it wasn't true. If after me hearing me out, you think to stay away, all good. May 15th, 2026, a day after my birthday. You know, not that that matters. Wait, is this Abba, Stephanie, or Libby? Fuck. And how'd you get my email? I got a missed phone call from Montreal number. Are you saying that I was the one who was stalking you or harassing you? I'm confused. Tried reaching out, but I haven't heard from you. Please reach out to me. Oh, must be so confusing for everybody. Jesus Christ.
That he saw that I blocked him, I guess, or he saw the Reddit post, or he saw the video.
Abba Atlas, did you block me? You blocked email. I feel for the harassment you're getting, but I fear I'll get worse. Take care of yourself. I just saw.
Or he saw the phone call. I don't fucking know what he was talking about. But he told me that he saw and that he thinks the harassment.
Yes, Chet says I love my boring life. Girl, take me back to my boring life.
Is only going to get worse from now. So I'm like,
yeah, Abba is Canadian. He lives in Canada.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And lo and behold, a couple days later, he posts a video called Since You Asked, in which he continues to dox all of us, but he doxes my legal name and he doxes my child's city of residence.
Jesus Christ.
A 5-year-old little girl. A 5-year-old little girl.
The boys don't understand how scary this is. I don't understand. When are the boys gonna know this is scary shit? Okay? I don't know why people think it's not scary. Trying to guess where people live, trying to look for their location, randomly sharing it, it's scary. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, I will say, Abba did technically dox me on Destiny's stream. I don't know why he didn't realize I don't share my location, but he told the stream where I lived. And I asked Destiny, I was like, can you like edit that out of the stream, bro? Like he said where I lived. And Abba's like, I didn't know that was a secret. And I was like, well, I don't tell anybody where I lived. You just tell people where people live. And I was like, nobody knows where I live. And then Destiny just took down the whole stream. when I asked him just to edit out that part, but he just took down the whole stream. So again, like, I don't think men especially, just they don't fucking think about these things. They just take for granted that a lot of us, you know, we're not out here telling people where we live because it's scarier for us. We're not rich. We don't have security. It's not the same position. We're not in the same position as you. So anyways, I just don't think these men think.
What was the need for doxing me? Like, what was
Or they don't care. They're fucking evil, bro.
the need to dox me? What was the need to do that? I think it was an intimidation tactic. He knew all of the stress that I went through with the stalking, the harassment, the online, all of it. And he knew that if he exposed where my kid lives and my legal name, maybe I would shut up. Maybe I would be quiet. Maybe I would stop posting things online. That's the only reason I can come up with for him to dox my legal name and dox where my kid lives.
That's so fucked up.
You tell me. Okay,
That's
in this
so
next
fucked
clip,
up.
I'll give you a rough timeline of everything. I got you. I got you. Here's a simplified timeline.
Okay, January 9th, I broke up with him, telling him I'd rather a co-parent. I was blocked. February 5th, he reached out saying he still didn't want a co-parent, tells me to get on the phone. I called him. His plan was to record the call, the one he recorded and displayed in the first live stream when I was vulnerable and blaming everything on myself. February 29th, we tried for a month and he says he wants me to move out there, but I say I can't move forward. March 23rd, we were randomly talking this month, like once, twice a week in between, and he'd send I love yous, etc. But this was the last day we talked. April 10th, IG messages. That's Libby's timeline.
Of everything that went down. Of everything. I got you.
Wait.
You tell me. Okay, in this next clip, I'll give you a rough timeline of everything. I got you. I got you.
Okay, but it says Libby's timeline. So I just want to...
Here's a simplified timeline of everything that went down, okay? Me and Abba started talking March 13th. Him and Libby broke up in, January? But they were still talking up until mid-March. He sent her a deep pic. He sent her the same explicit video that he sent to me and Steph. Then around March 14th to the 20th is when he had flown out, Steph, the second woman, to Montreal. And then a week and some change, March 31st, he flew me out. That's the rough gist of the timeline.
I also want to point out really quick how in January of this year, as early as January 4th, Abba was flirting with Stephanie while Libby was pregnant. And this man really has the audacity to claim that she was cheating on him over an Instagram account, boy.
Bro.
Not him actually cheating on his pregnant girlfriend,
Literally.
blocking her, and then immediately moving on to the next bitch.
There is also an alleged woman in London he's met in January too. Now I'm curious about, interesting.
What the fuck?
By April 10th, he still had his ex-girlfriend's phone number. They had ended things initially in January because of the pregnancy abortion. He blocked her for a couple weeks. She got the abortion. She had no other choice. So they reconnected, and she's thinking at the time that she did so many things wrong on her end, and she was so sorry for how she did things with the breakup, whatever, just apologizing. Same kind of dynamic that I had with him, apologizing for things that I shouldn't really be apologizing for. This man is emotional, I'm telling you guys. They were on level terms. Let's just say it was leveled. April 10th goes by, and he finds her Instagram account that she was using to kind of like build a platform. It was for archery and gym content. You can see right here, she's a very curvy woman. She's got the breasts and she's got the hips and she's got the booties. You can't blame her for the body that she has. She's worked hard for that, and I don't blame her for showing it off. His claim for her was that she was cheating because she had this Instagram account and she was hearting the comments and she would react with like emojis.
You're a whore. You're a whore. Just admit it. You're a whore. You whore yourself out online. You whore yourself out in
Abba to Livy because she's an IG and she knows she's a bad bitch.
front of your family and your friends. You're a whore.
In the same breath, he's also telling me that he's not sleeping with anyone else. He's not talking to anyone else romantically. He's not doing any of that. He's not whoring around. But he was. And he was projecting it all onto her. And then he tried to make everyone else online think that about her. There's so much that I want to get into, but I need to stick to what I want to talk about for this video. Regarding the STD issue, I also want to bring up the fact that he pursued a sex worker. So we know that he pursued a sex worker and that he wanted to have unprotected intimacy with that individual as well. That's just another layer to add on to the worry of STDs, because this guy, he will pay for it and he doesn't want protection. That is a really...
I mean, to be fair, if that sex worker is a true professional and not a survival sex worker, she'll have access, or he'll have access to protective sex and so on. So hopefully that is what is happening. But yeah, I think he's got a kink. I do. I think he has a kink. I think he has a specific kink. And apparently the sex workers who did report on Abba, by the way, did not have good things to say about him. They said he was weird. And allegedly, one of the sex workers said, allegedly, I read it, allegedly, that he got banned because he was making girls feel weird. Allegedly.
Really big issue. You cannot trust this individual with anything, with your life, with your health, with your punani. You can't. Okay, you can't. You just can't. So just to reiterate, before all of this happened, I thought he was a very stand-up guy. I thought he was mature. I thought he was responsible. I thought a lot of things. But after all of this, I truly believe that he's a predator. He's not safe. He's not safe for anyone, any woman.
I agree. My opinion, I agree.
If you are involved with that man, I want you to know that you're not safe with him. And
I
then
agree.
a little message for his viewers or people in the communities, whatever. You guys are parasocial. What do they say? You need to touch grass. You need to go outside and you need to touch some grass. Because this little online reality that y'all have to defend this type of man, like I said in my last videos, it's sick. There's something wrong with y'all. I've spoken to real people who can think on their own and people who are even fans of their channel. They can see it for what it is. They know that this situation is disgusting and that this individual is disgusting.
Definitely.
Those of you who don't think so, I believe that y'all are sick. There's something wrong with y'all and you're probably not safe to be around.
Or you're in denial, but you got to wake up. We got to wake up, girls. Okay. All of us, everyone, we get it. We got to wake up. And it's not just ABBA, friends and family, people in our neighborhoods, people at our churches, people in our communities. Like, Trump didn't win for nothing. You know what I mean? People literally look at Trump and just think like, oh, he's a man though. That's how boys will be boys. You know, they always say that on ABBA and Preach, like, boys will be boys. Okay, well, boys will be boys indeed. And like patriarchy made it so. Okay, patriarchy is the problem here. And yes, chat, philosophical evil. Disgusting, really gross. And he brands himself so well, at least, you know, caveat, asterisk, so well, right? For the bubble, that I know it's hard for people. It's jarring to be like, no way, but yes way.
On women either. Because there's no way I could defend someone who doxes multiple women and a 5-year-old little girl. Who doxes a child? Only a sick individual does. You will never ever be able to change my mind about that. You'll never be able to try to convince me that this man is good, is safe, is responsible, is mature, is any of that. You cannot convince me that he is, because he's not. He put a 5-year-old little girl at risk by doxing where she lived to 2.26 million subscribers on the internet. What sick individual does that? We all know what's going on in the United States with these Epstein files. We all know what these politicians, what these people, these higher ups are doing. And you're trying to dox a child? No. He's not safe for women and he's not safe for children. Lock him up. Put him in jail. The way that all of this has affected my health is crazy. I never thought, because I've been through a lot of shit, right? I never thought that something could affect me this much. I used to think that I was a strong individual. Apparently I'm not, because now I'm on like 20 different medications. I have to use an inhaler now for anxiety.
I mean, it's real shit. And the problem is, like, that's why it's annoying from ABBA's perspective to put someone through this. Like, he's used to the attention, but like the girls he's going after, they're not used to it. They don't know how to handle it. And girls, it really impacts your mental health. Like, I'll just say for myself, like, it really physically takes a toll on your body. It truly is the most stressful experience to have the internet coming at you. You know, it's just when you know you're right, it's just a terrible experience. So just, you know.
I can't breathe. I'm having chest pains. Girl, I can't sleep. I'm having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I'm getting irritated. I'm getting irritated and I'm getting tired. This is taking a lot out of me. I might end this much sooner than I wanted to, but we're almost done. I'm just getting really tired and I'm getting flustered up again. I want you to go look at how he talked about me and what he did. I want you to compare his lack of compassion, his just blatant dismissal of the entire experience for me, and just simplified it to, oh, she happened to get pregnant and she miscarried and it was a horrible event for her. Then how afterwards he doxed my kid's city of residence, a 5-year-old little girl's city of residence, and my legal name. With everything that you know, with me experiencing the stalking, the online harassment, the worrying about my health, worrying about my safety, going through a miscarriage, and then at the same time finding out about 1, 2, 3 different women. You guys don't care about women. You guys don't give a shit about women's health, about women's well-being. And y'all can go straight to hell. Y'all can go straight to hell with Satan himself. That's what you can do. Here's a little bit of bonus information that I want to include. This individual, he's also engaging in litigation abuse. He's using his financial status to abuse the legal system.
Oh, definitely.
He sent a cease and desist to his ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
I'll show you the letter right here. You can read it.
Hold on, cease and desist. Oh my God, what is he, Ethan Klein? Okay, Miss Kalina, this law firm represents Abba Atlas in connection with the extensive damage he has suffered because of numerous false, unfounded, defamatory statements that you have published on various social media platforms, including but not limited to your YouTube page. In addition, you illegally recorded a conversation with Mr. Atlas without his consent in violation of California's penal code, and then published the conversation to YouTube. In light of your conduct, Mr. Atlas is prepared to initiate civil action against you that would assert numerous claims, including defamation, false light. Okay, let's see. Your online statements regarding your relationship with Mr. Atlas, including your alleged pregnancy, subsequent abortion, are knowingly false, among other misrepresentation. This is what I'm saying, girl. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is all these gross men who are literally millionaires. This is very important. I know you guys don't know the difference between 60,000 a year and $1 million, but it's a lot. I don't think the internet understands how different of a price that is. Okay. This is why Ethan Klein weaponized his wealth against these YouTubers. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I know people say they understand, but you don't understand. You have no idea what it's like to make 60K a year versus, okay? And these men are rich, okay? They made so much. They've bragged about how much money. They said they made $1 million on just content they've made about Fresh and Fit. Remember that video they made all those years ago bragging? Okay? That's what I'm saying. Be very careful. Listen to these men. Like, listen to these men when they tell you who they are. Now, for people saying, why isn't Preach spoken up? I want to know that too. I want to know that too. You know, but at the same time, what do we expect more out of him? Okay? Like, why do we expect anything out of Preach? Because Preach is brand. Because his brand is better. But is he just another ABBA? I don't know. I don't know. Okay? I'm not reading all that. I'm not reading all that.
I want you to notice how aggressive this letter looks. And now I want you to compare this letter to, it's a very long letter, isn't it? It is very descriptive. This letter is very long. It shows you plenty of exhibits, aka proof that goes along with certain claims. I just want to be clear to everyone that her case is a strong one. His case, not so much, because if it does go to court, if he does pursue legal action, how is he going to crop things out of context? How is he going to manipulate the jury? They are going to want to see everything. They're going to want to speak to other individuals involved in this mess too. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, if he does pursue, like if he actually sues his ex-girlfriend, or if he tries to do something to me or to the other woman, what are you actually going to do? It's only going to make him look worse. It's only going to make things worse for him. It's going to damage his reputation even more. It's going to damage his business. And as a consequence, it's also going to damage Preach, his coworker. It's also going to affect those that work for him. I hear about maybe 2 individuals in the background of their videos sometimes. There's a woman and a man. It's going to affect them too, because all of this is also going to be shared online, because that's his career. That's what he does for a living. With that being said, yes, I will be posting a part 2, 3, and 4, doing a much deeper dive on all of this. There was a point in time where they were considering settling, but only if all of us took our videos down and stopped talking about the situation. After that, I'm not.
Yeah, did you hear Ethan Klein never actually dropped the lawsuit against iDubbbz? That he expects iDubbbz to not speak ill of him on the internet and to take down his videos. Did you hear that? We all thought Ethan, oh my God, he actually like did a good thing. Nope. All these men want you to erase any proof of their reputation on the internet. All these men are the same. Remember when ABBA and Preach and Ethan were fighting and I was like trying to build a bridge between the two of them like an idiot? That's what I'm saying. All these men are gross and I'm sick of us all giving them the benefit of the doubt because we're like trained to be like so thoughtful. I know as an autistic person, I hate when people take me out of context. Like, I really know my intentions are good. And so I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but, you know what I mean? I'm so sick of it. I'm so tired. This is why you gotta, one red flag and I'm over it.
Not sure what happened between the lawyers. I think they went back on the settlement decision. Now he's just waiting for something. I don't know. He's just waiting and making her wait. He's just digging his grave deep.
You know, the anxiety too, waiting and waiting and waiting. And then the person's like, they're in a spiral. Like, you guys don't understand. Until it's over, it's not over. Like, until I posted that Destiny video and then wiped my hands of it, I was like, you know, it really worked. Like, I stopped getting harassed after I posted that video and the receipts showed I was validated. The harassment did stop. But it took it was like 2 years. And then, you know, people were calling into shows I was on telling me to kill myself. Like, the men were so angry at me, clipping me, taking me out of context, telling me to kill myself, sending me messages, telling me, like, I hope I eat a gun. Like, and I was just sitting here, like, and then these men who were millionaires with big platforms. And by the way, these were my coworkers. Destiny and I were never more than friends, never more than coworkers. Okay, like casual coworker friends, right? Now imagine you slept with them. Now imagine you were with them. Imagine you dated them. Imagine how much harder that is. You let this man inside your life, inside your body. I can't even imagine what these girls were going through. It was hard enough just being coworkers. Now imagine the intimacy level. Imagine that extra level. Like, I can't even tell you how hard this is.
That's my honest opinion. He's just digging his grave deeper. I'm here for it. This video is already too long, so I just want to start closing and give my final thoughts on everything. You guys may be wondering, what's my plan now? Like I said in previous videos, I don't plan to date. If I do want to meet anyone, it's not going to be as serious as I want it to be. I think I lost the plot sometime along the way, thinking like, oh, you should only focus on one person.
Therapy, girl. don't talk about who you're dating or not dating. Girlie, you just went through something traumatic. Go to therapy. Do philosophical work. Who cares about dating right now? Lock in. You know what I'm saying? Don't write all people off, but don't even focus on dating. Choose yourself.
I don't think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to just date. I could just meet people and I don't have to do anything serious. I'm not going to sleep with them. I really don't have...
The internet doesn't need to know this. I don't need to know your plans. It's not my business. You do what you want with your body, girl. Your body, your choice. I don't need to know this. I don't need to know your plans. I don't even think she's a YouTuber. I don't know why she's telling me this. Is she a YouTuber?
Capacity to have any sexual intimacy anymore. And because I'm on certain medications, my sex drive is gone. It's zero. Even before having the medication, I didn't really care too much about sex, but now there's like little to zero drive. I'll just be happy with flirting, with kissing, with doing like the cutesy things.
This is how I know she's a kid, because why are we hearing this? Yeah, she's not a YouTuber. She's like 500 subscribers. With peace and love, girlie, do not give the internet this information. The men on the internet are just going to use this like to weaponize. Don't tell people this.
I think I'm fine with that. I don't plan to date seriously. I don't plan to get tied down by anyone. So I'm planning to focus on myself, my future, the things that I want to do, the things that I enjoy. That's what makes me truly happy, is just doing the things that I love and being around the people that I love, like my daughter and my family. As you can see, I've got to add more pictures to our little picture wall over here. For any woman that comes across this video, I just want you to be cautious, be aware of what you're getting into, and be careful. Be careful, please, please. Y'all are way too fine. Y'all are way too fine. Like, I'm being so for real right now. Y'all are way too gorgeous to be with that man. For those of you who are curious about what you can do to support me is like my videos, subscribe, you can comment, you can share, just whatever you want to share. I actually enjoy reading people's comments and I do respond to them. There's quite a few people that I recognize now that are very consistent in commenting and interacting and being very supportive, and so I wanted to give them some appreciation here.
Okay, we're not gonna let people's usernames be spammed on my chat.
Engagement is actually really
okay. So I'm glad that she's got support. Let's see. So bro's worse than those red pill guys. Well, okay, they're all the same. I don't know. You gotta, you know what I mean? It's all the same. Myron Gaines is gonna have a field day with this one. Gang, there's another what the fuck, Abba can only shoot so many blanks. Abba's a menace. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, girls, thank you for suggesting that. Sad to see it happen, though. And if you want to check out Kiki's work, you can. Or if you want to check out her other parts, I'm not going to cover it here on stream. I'll just be real with you. Like, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on this story. It feels like I really want to wipe my hands of this bubble as much as possible. So I'm glad we're keeping up with it in order to add a voice to support these women. But also she said she was going to put out more parts. We're not going to watch them probably. I'm going to be real with you. So this is probably it for me. But thank you for these women for standing up. I'm so sorry to the 7 of you that we know of right now who have come forward. That's devastating. And shame on all these men. And shame on all these people who have the audacity to call Abba a disgusting person and then turn around and vote for Trump, or call Abba a disgusting person and then turn around and still support men just like Abba. Like, you're not a good man just because you talk shit on Abba. Show it with your values. Call out your boys, call out your friends, call out your family, call out your relatives, and you know, stand on your principles. Because, you know, you trying to impress the girls by talking shit on men isn't going to be helpful if you just turn around and you're one of those men anyways. Because that's exactly how Abba and Preach won a lot of us over, is they talked a lot of shit on Fresh and Fit, okay? And so everyone's like, oh, you're the good one, you're the good one, you're the good one. That's what these men do. Destiny did the same thing. Ethan Clyde did the same thing. All these men talked so much shit on Fresh and Fit, women actually started to believe they might be a safe space. Okay? Absolutely not. Thank you.